Welcome to Clash Royale League Asia, where we have all the Clash Royale action, the best in the world at the moment, specifically.
Because we're the only one on at the moment.
For now. And my name's G Clef as always. And tonight, this afternoon, we'll have Simon joining the desk tonight, as we still have Korean teams and the Southeast Asian team going against each other live at the OGN studio, right next to our desk.
Yeah, it's right there. There's quite a few people here as well, and it's got to be a great experience being able to play Clash Royale in front of about, what, 50, 60, 70 people, I think, that we allow in at the moment.
Yeah, we actually have a lot more people coming in, but
yeah,
we do not have enough seats. Some people actually stand next to them and keep on watching. They've been here since 9 a.m. Right now it's 12 p.m., so it's been almost 3 hours. We saw backpacks of line trying to get into the door, make sure they get seats, and that's how popular Clash Royale is right here.
Yeah, it's crazy experience. Once you're here live, it is such a different feeling than just watching at home. So if you are in Korea, make sure you come down sometime and we can show you some live Clash Royale action.
This weekend and also next weekend, because I believe Korean teams are going against Japanese teams as well at the OGN studio.
Yeah, that's right.
If you are around, make sure you come and check out the OGN stadium at 12th floor. We are always open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We do have the pennant race today. It's week 5. It's still 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 more weeks to go.
Yeah, even though we're like 4 weeks in, it's still hard to tell who is going to be going through, who's going to be going to the finals in the seeding spots. Like, anything can happen right now. We saw yesterday Sandbox beat Bren Esports.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they dropped a set, but, you know, still, Sandbox taking 2v2 against the Southeast Asian team. I was not expecting it.
We're about ready to jump into... Get to hear a little bit before we start from the team. Let's get to hear from them a little bit.
불안감도 있었고 설렘도 있었고 기대감도 있었는데
그래도 좀 다른 느낌이었던 것 같아요. 이제 팀원들과 이제 일본 숙소에서 또 같이 연습을 해야 되고 그런 부분들 좀 신경 써야 될 부분도 많았고.
물론 설레는 마음도 있었지만 주장이고 하다 보니까 좀 더 부담감이 좀 많이 컸던 것 같습니다.
그냥 아쉬움이 전체적으로 많이 남았던 것 같아요.
저희도 엄청 준비를 많이 해갔는데 그걸 다 보여주지 못한 거 다 아쉽고.
네, 원정을 갔다 와서 느끼는 건 역시 그 연습 시간이나 아니면 미리미리 해야 될 것들을 정하고 가야겠다는 거를 느꼈습니다.
동남아 선수들은 일단 다들 독특한 것 같아요.
되게 전략적인 팀?
연구를 통해서 딱 나온 덱, 뭐 그런 느낌이죠.
韩国队的好处的话，就他们的打法比较细腻，就技术性比较强。
They have a lot of great players, but
从表现看起来，就是他们比较不会那么压力。
Korean teams using graveyard and expo, so many using it. I think for tomorrow they will use it too.
준비성도 실력의 한 부분이니까 그 부분도 저희가 미흡했다는 거를 인정할 수밖에 없고
저희가 확실하게 준비를 하면 어떠한 선수가 나오더라도 이길 수 있다고 생각합니다.
韩国选手，我觉得最厉害就是 Expo
Master。Expo Master。
他也不只会玩 X 弩啊，所以的话就感觉会实力会比较平均点，这样子的话我们胜算会高一些。
뭐라 하지? 표현할 방법이 없네 이걸. 대형 석궁도 잘하고 다른 덱들도 잘해서 타격이 없을 것 같아요. 석궁 밴해주세요. 어차피 제가 다 이길 테니까.
전승해서 오지 엔터스의 강함을 입증해야 되겠습니다.
Another one bites the dust.
吃什么东西是一定要吃，然后打败韩国队也是一定要，就是两者都要做到。
와서 관광 많이 해주세요. 어차피 저희가 다 이길 테니까.
생각지도 못한 덱을 준비해서 상대를 깜짝 놀라게 해주려고요.
我们都会每周都会尽量使用一些新的卡牌，以避免会被 counter， 就是针对。
고마운 선물이라 생각하고 2승 잘 챙겨가도록 하겠습니다.
Hear from the players a little bit of what they have to think of coming into week number 5. It seems like almost everyone except for Japan, and they have gone overseas to travel and see what it feels like to be in a different region, different environment, and also play. Of course, Japanese teams still very above the others in terms of standings, but we still have a lot of weeks left into the play.
Yeah, there's a lot of weeks left, but even the Japanese teams are not that far ahead. If Kingzone Dragon X, for example, they win both their games this week, they'll be tied again with game width. So it's all still to play for here.
Yeah, there are a lot of games to play, and it comes down to this is only day number 2. Last night, of course, Korea having the victory with 2-1, but a lot of the games were very close. I wouldn't say it was crazy dominant, and we got to see a little different meta, different style of playing from Korean teams with lots of golem decks instead of those miners chip down decks instead.
Yeah, the minor chip down decks are kind of a known entity at this point, and we kind of know that Korea are going to use them, so it looks like they've tried to change it up a little bit. And it worked, but yesterday we also saw a bomb tower, which we were joking about that we'd never see.
Yeah, it was on a 2v2, and against the golem with such high health points, it's actually a very good defensive card, I would say, kind of like Tombstone, but a better one. So we do have the standings. Lots of Japanese teams on top because they played a lot more. And Brenny Sports also dropping their match is quite painful, dropping down to 3rd place now.
Yeah, so we can see Ponos Sports and Game With are the top 2 teams, but Kingzone Dragon X do have the chance to tie up with those. Not quite Game With, who's 6-1, but they can get 2nd place, which is still a really good finish to the season. But we can see at the bottom of the table, we have Detonation Gaming 2-5, and then Sandbox, OPGG, OGN Entus, Chaos Theory, all 2-4. AHQ Esports Club play next. They can also join that 2-4 club. The bottom of this table is so close.
Yep, basically they're all tied right there. As you can see, the result from last night, OGN Entus, Chaos Theory, Sandbox come up with the win of the final match. Brenny Sports, due to visa issue, they had some trouble and ended up having only the 2v2 set. And Sandbox, of course, taking a win from that. But we do have today's matchup here. AHQ Esports Club and Kingzone Dragon X, who did not play yesterday, will be the first ones up. Kicks versus OPGG Skeletons, Chaos Theory versus Sandbox. Great matchups today.
Yeah, great matchups. I'm really looking forward to Kingzone Dragon X as always. For that last game, the Sandbox versus Chaos Theory, I am also super excited about that. And I was watching yesterday and on YouTube, like just, you know, starting the broadcast, JTV was in chat saying like, oh, hey guys, I'm going to be on game 2. It's like, you should be watching, you should be preparing for the games. Like, he's sitting there watching the YouTube stream. So the pro players are watching in the stream. So make sure that, you know, you give them a call out, say how good they are, that kind of stuff.
Yep, yes. This is their new journey over in Korea, and quite nice weather to be in fact right now. Not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah, and the humidity hasn't started yet.
Yeah, that will start soon, but we're not into summertime yet. We do have AHQ Esports Club, very well-known team for all kinds of esports.
Kingzone Dragon X here, pretty well-known team, I believe. I think they have quite a few teams, but this Clash Royale team is arguably one of the best in Korea, and maybe even in the region if they can continue the flow from that they had in week 1 and 2 into week What week are we on now? 5? Yeah.
Week 5. Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a while already, Simon, as we get into week 5. You have team profile AHQ. Look at that. 2 wins, 3 losses, 7th place at the moment.
That could all change today. We have Jackie, Kangji, Morris Lin, and Yao Yao for AHQ Esports. They've shown a bit of a resurgence recently. I think they will challenge King's Own Dragon X today.
So they did lose against all the Southeast Asian teams. And they were actually at the bottom, AHQ Esports, along with Sandbox. But they went to Japan. They won against Detonation Gaming and Bob Gaming as well. So they were the one actually standing up really on top when they went to Japan. Coming into Korea, it is their first match tonight. We'll see how well they can do against this team, King's Own Dragon X.
Yeah, so King's Own Dragon X, we have Ho, July, Expo Master, and Big Daddy, and they're 3-2, currently in 4th place. But that will change probably today. I guess if they win, which I strongly feel they will, they'll be bumping up the standings a little bit.
Yeah, King's Own Dragon X used to be on top with 3 wins and won against all the Korean teams. They went to Japan. They lost against Detonation and also GameWit. That's been quite hurting there, but they are back in Korea, in their homeland. Let's see how well they can do against AHQ Esports Club tonight as the first match. We'll have handshakes, and we'll have our 1v1 player going to their podium right after.
So we can see on the screen then the first game is going to be the 1v1 versus AHQ Jacque and Expo Master. Expo Master being called out as one of the players that the SEA teams are concerned with.
We saw from the short video, that a pretty long video actually, almost 4 minutes.
It's a bit long.
See, they were calling it Expo Master. Expo Master is the one that I'm watching out, keeping my eyes on.
As they should. He got to CCGS World Finals. He took a game off Sergio Ramos, who then went to dominate the rest of the tournament up until the final. I mean, Expo Master is a quality player.
Yes, Jacque, we do have him here. He's played 13 rounds, 13 games of 1v1 and 8 games of 2v2. Basically, every single game that HQ Esports Club had, he was involved in it.
Here's Expo Master, 9 wins, 5 losses in 1v1, a very good record at this point. And in 2v2, 4 losses. So Expo Master seems like he's been moved off 2v2 duty for now, putting back on his 1v1 where he is the strongest player in this team.
I think he deserves to be one of the best ones in the entire region of Asia, to be called out as one of the best, one of the top 3 1v1 player. Like with the music, we're gonna have the fan cards ready. Ooh, Expo open, Minion Horde, being a key card from last night, is going to be banned off from Jacque.
Yeah, Minion Horde is such a strong card. If it connects onto the tower is done. Tornado being banned is an interesting choice, however. We don't usually see... We've seen it a lot more recently, actually, for a 1v1 ban. But it kind of opens up things like the Miner, the Hog Rider, the Goblin Barrel. Because all those things you would normally Tornado into your King Tower and open that up. So banning it out does mean we can see a lot of stuff. I am hoping we get to see Expo Master's Expo play. But even without the Expo, he is still an incredibly strong player.
Yeah, Jacque should be ready for the Expo from Expo Master, who has been feeling a little bit ill at the moment. It's quite early in the... Just got into the afternoon, 12 p.m. here, as he was feeling a little sick.
Hopefully nothing some Korean medicine can't fix, or a bit of coffee. You know how it is when you feel that way in the morning. But here we see Jacque's most used deck. He does like that Lumberjack.
All he needs is coffee.
That's all I need. All I need is coffee, and I'm good to go.
Jacque, I believe he saw the match. I was about to call out some key cards that happened last night. Of course, we did have a Sparky, so make sure if you're a Sparky fan, go back and watch the VOD from yesterday. Pretty exciting stuff from Yugi Art. Actually won with the Sparky, so 100% win rate with the Sparky so far.
Was it against the Golem deck by any chance?
Yes.
I'm telling you, Sparky is a great card against Golem decks. It is the answer against Golem decks.
Is it the answer?
It does so much damage because it...
What if your opponent has an Electro Wizard?
you play the Sparky far enough back. You don't let the Electro Wizard get near it. It will dominate the Golem. It will dominate anything you build behind it. Night Witch, dead. You know what I mean?
Yes. I do know what you mean, but what I was trying to get to the card, with the key card, Minion Horde with the Miner, just those two cards actually took out the tower by itself. Miner taking the damage a little bit, and usually Zap is the card that comes out, so Zap does not take the Minion Horde out, but Princess Tower already locked onto the Miner, so with small HP they would go directly to the tower, all 6 of them, and just destroy that tower in instant.
I mean, there is the arrows, which is a very big counter to Minion Horde, and it does give you an elixir advantage. But most players don't want to carry arrows because Zap is better for things like Inferno Dragon and Inferno Tower and anything like that. You can change attack targets with it.
And also some small reasons why competitive players don't use arrows. Big range, does some damage, it takes out the minions fine, and it takes out a lot of the units like goblins also. But it doesn't reset like a Zap, or it doesn't really pull back anyone like a fireball or the log. So it just does the damage, that's it. So you can't really utilize as much as the other spells. That's why we don't really see arrows at all. I think that's why he was willing to just ban that out instead of using his own arrow and risking that play.
Yeah, because if your opponent doesn't bring Minion Horde against arrows, you're never going to get a very positive trade.
Like if you're throwing an arrow against the Golem,
that's going to do nothing. But if you throw the Golem, if you throw the arrows against the Goblin Gang, it's an equal trade. But you never really want equal trades. You want positive trades.
Yes. And that was a big risk to take if you wanted to go in with the arrow. So we do have the Minion Horde ban. I think that those are some of the reasons why we do have that ban. Of course, a Tornado ban from Expo Master, a lot more common in 2v2 also. We do have the time locked on. Game 1, they had their 3 minutes between AHQ Shake and Expo Master. Let's get right into game number 1. See you in the arena.
Okay, so here it starts. In blue at the bottom of the screen, AHQ Esports Club Shake.
Barrel.
In red, Expo Master for King's Own Dragon
have
X.
the log, I think. Shake is on to the point here, as the key card, which we didn't mention totally today, is the Rascals. I think we really do need to think about the Rascals, and that's the reason why we're going to see a lot more logs in play.
I don't think we're going to see that many Rascals. Honestly, we saw it a few times last night, but it's the kind of card that you might want to practice a bit more with. These decks have been prepared before.
Counter log.
Yeah, most of these decks would be prepared before Rascals were released, so we might see it more next week than this week.
He does miss the angle. If he places a bowler on pixel below, the rock would actually go over the 2 goblins at the same time.
Inferno Tower, interesting choice here. Looks like Expo Master was prepared for a Golem deck.
Yes, or anything heavy. And look at that laser damage. Burn through that bowler.
Yeah, there's a poison as well. We do see a lot of poison in this tournament. It's such a good card, and there's a lot of discussion right now as to whether poison or fireball is better. Which one do you side on?
Fireball.
I'd say poison. I think poison is a little bit better, but fireball is that instant damage. We see the knight there getting knocked down by the archer's instant log on that barrel. Perfect timing. Princess is going to take out the archers, and we're all back to a very empty battlefield right now.
What else has he had? Talking about Expo Master, just need one more way of attack, not just the barrel. I think he has to draw out another spell, not just with the Goblin Gang. He's trying to get the log out.
Yeah, this is the typical log bait. Will we see the Hog Rider in the last spot? That's a very strong possibility, but I think we would have seen it already. There's a giant, and suddenly that push looks... Oh, and there's a graveyard as well. This is suddenly a very dangerous time. Goblin Gang comes down to defend, but a poison from Shake taking out that Goblin Gang really easily. Will these skeletons do a lot of damage? Down to 1,700. 1,600 with that poison damage. but the problem is, Expo Master has not had a very successful attack so far.
The Sparrow actually stabs in a little bit, but in terms of trading, Expo Master was even losing the Elixir trade right before because he had to use the Goblin Gang and the Knight, and a lot of sources for him to actually defend against the Giant and the Graveyard as well.
Perfect. They're trying. I think he should have held on to that barrel. Once again, gets hit with that perfect log right at the back of the field. Jacques definitely does seem to have Expo Master's number here.
Jacques just understanding the barrel, where it's going to be. Expo Master holding in the last one. I guess it could just be a rocket. I think he's just holding it for the finish.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not much of a log bait if you're throwing down your goblins and your barrel at the same time. You're not baiting that log. You're just inviting it to destroy everything you have.
There are lots of tools from Jacques to counter the Goblin Gang, and not just with the barrel, not just with the log. He does have Bowler and the Giant even. There's another Graveyard now spawning.
Will we see the Goblin Gang? Does use the log. The Princess is there. There's the Goblin Gang. Waited quite a while and has taken a lot of damage there. Down to 824. Poison comes in. Misses one of the goblins, but that's not going to do that much damage. But we see the goblins on the other side do connect. 1,681. Still 1,000 tower points, tower hit points advantage here for Jacques.
I'll compare that to 608 on the other side. Expo Master trying to bring that log with the Princess. Trying to bait that out. Princess will survive. Will be going down very soon with the Mega Minion coming in now. But 608 does have the poison available.
Connects.
Waiting for the opportunity to land that on with the Graveyard.
All right, will he be able to defend this Graveyard here? Expo Master is in a very bad position, but that barrel did connect. No log come out. 865 to 325. This is anybody's game right now.
Certainly, if you log with connecting. Let's get taken out with the perfect log. Bowler is already there.
Inferno Tower will quickly take care, but does Expo Master have what it takes?
With the poison, I think it's going to be very close to GG. Going down below 200.
150,
barely any hits,
I think it's
going
to go down.
Jacques brings the game for himself. 53 seconds left on the clock.
Wow. That game, Jacques had such an advantage early on and then found it kind of difficult to push through. But eventually just taking down that tower with the poison, the Graveyard, plus, I mean, the Bowler never really did that much damage, right? It was always countered by the Inferno Tower.
The Bowler was just to make sure you push through and to not just, can't say counter the Inferno Tower, but to drag that out to make sure your Graveyard is the actual one that can do the damage.
I gotta say, Jacques' logs there were on point. They were they never really missed. He missed one goblin out of 5 or 6 barrels that he logged. Incredible predictive positioning, knowing exactly when to put it right at the back. And just every time those goblins were just smushed. There was nothing they could do.
Squashed when those log with spikes, of course. They just rolled through, and all the goblins would just be D-E-A-D right after. But Expo Master with the Princess, he was baiting the log so hard because if you throw the log behind your own tower, it doesn't go all the way to the bridge and gets the Princess down. But Jacques had the Mega Minion to clean that up all the time. That was a real problem for Expo Master. How Jacques handled that deck with the barrel was pretty nicely well done. I would say the logs were near perfect. The cycle was actually in favor of Jacques with the Giant and the Bowler.
See, Expo Master here looks incredibly nervous. He's not looking as calm, but as you said, he is quite sick right now, so we can forgive him for not being at his best. But the team really does need this win.
Yep, it's professional, competitive. You have to be healthy, and it does come in, of course. Some will say it doesn't really matter, but with your mentality, everything is connected. We're ready to jump into game 2. And Expo Master bounce back, or Jacques just finishing off the set. Game 2.
once again, AHQ, Jacquet in blue at the bottom of the screen. Kingzone Dragon X's, Expo Master in red at the top. Expo Master has it all to do right now. He does need to overcome this one game deficit so far. Will he be able to do it? We're going to have to wait and see, as it looks like both players are going to wait just a little bit to see what the opponent is going to do.
Packed with action right now in the arena. It's happening so fast we can't even see it. I mean, hopefully with the 60 FPS you guys can see it as well, but we do have so much action right now on the screen.
Unfortunately, it's quicker than the eye can see. We have to open our inner eye or whatever it was in Dragon Ball Z when you had to see the players.
Just reminds me of SpongeBob. One of those special episodes that says, "Do you want me to go to a mountain and come back?" And then he stays there, and it says, "Do you want me to go there again?" And that's how quickly he was. We couldn't even get a grasp of how quickly he was moving. That's exactly what's happening right now. So many things being thrown, all the question marks out there. It's amazing.
SpongeBob references go right over my head because I never watched those.
I love Patrick. Hey.
I watched a lot of SpongeBob, but I always
Simon.
watched it in the worst place. Like, I was always like tired. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I just got home from
So you never had a
work.
Krabby Patty before?
I've never had a Krabby Patty.
Are you serious, Simon?
I'm serious. I'm not a big Krabby Patty
You're
fan.
dead to me.
Okay, that's fine. I'm cool with that. That's fine.
You had fish and chips, though.
Yeah, fish and chips is
Just
amazing.
put the fish in the burger. That's Krabby Patty.
Where's this burger coming from in a fish and chips? There's no burger in a fish and chips.
You just bring the bread.
All right, we are
just bring
down to the
buns.
1 minute mark. We have successfully survived that time. And we see the tombstone from Expo
Lava House
Master.
from Expo.
Yeah, and the golem from Jacquet. This is going to be an interesting trade. One of the biggest rivalries, I would say, is the Lava Hound beatdown and the golem beatdown. They are two very similar decks. And the cards themselves.
Balloon right
the
on
balloon
top
is in
of
front.
he actually waited for that moment, but he actually placed it way too early. He knew at the moment he made the mistake as well.
Yeah,
Fireball to kind of counter, but Golem is
he
not
gonna be able
damaged
to
right
defend?
onto the
No,
tower.
he is not.
The Dark Prince even landing a few hits, and that's going to be a tower down for sure. Only 20 seconds to go now.
Yeah, I mean, Expo Master knows that this all-in period has failed. It is over. There is nothing he can do. Expo Master losing this game too, and that solves it. AHQ Jacquet takes set number 1 against Expo Master.
Balloon comes in too late. He's going to go to the tombs as well, and that's match over. Jacquet will take the first set. AHQ Esports Club up to a pretty nice start today.
Yeah, throwing out that heart there. Jacquet, just so good. He just, it's hard to explain, but he just played that much better than Expo Master today.
It was
better.
Actually Expo Master making a huge mistake, of course.
I even don't think that was that big of a mistake. I think even if it was behind, it still would have been cleaned up relatively easy. Maybe he'd have hit the tower, but that's about it.
But because he had the balloon, Infernal Dragon locked right onto the balloon, took the balloon down, and then after the Lava Hound, there's no problem. There is no problem whatsoever. He also has some other units to take out the Lava Pups as well right after.
I mean, waiting for that 1 minute double elixir mark is such a risky strategy.
Less RNG. That's what you need at the moment sometimes.
I wouldn't say that was RNG. I'd say that was pure skill.
Yes.
There is no such thing as RNG, all right? So here we can see the first game. Every time that Goblin Barrel went down, it was logged inch perfectly. And we can see that you bait out the Goblin Gang on defense and then just throw down a poison. Suddenly there's nothing there to defend.
Expo Master tried throwing the Goblin right onto the tower, behind the tower, left side of the tower, the right side. Nothing really worked against Jacquet. Perfect log every time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, at this point, most players know how to defend against the Goblin Barrel because we see it so much on ladder. So all that practice does show here.
Let's take a look at the camera, how Expo Master actually... Oh, we're gonna skip
that part.
That was the most important part, of dropping down the balloon.
Yeah, when he played the balloon just in front of the Lava Hound, you could see on his face, the way he was reacting, he's like, no, this is over. There's nothing he could do at this point. Once that Goblin Dark Prince connected, he's at such a elixir disadvantage that he just can't win.
Yeah, even the Dark Prince survives for a long time. Minions actually catching on to the Golems. Only Princess Tower, I believe, was hitting on to that Dark Prince. Quite a tough thing when you also have a Golem right onto that tower. Moving on.
2v2, we
2v2.
have AHQ Yao Yao, AHQ Morris Lin there. Just preparing, getting ready, making sure that they're all set up, the comms are going to work. We can see the staff there making sure the devices are working while trying to stay off camera. But we can see that Morris Lin does like his poisons, which is a very, very good card in 2v2.
Yao Yao and Morris Lin, of course, actually not the most common pair. Morris Lin, his first time playing 2v2 competitive out here, as Yao Yao was oftentimes just paired up with Jacque. Yao Yao even paired up with Jerry Song oftentimes, but Jacque moving on to 1v1 tonight. And we will have Morris Lin for 2 versus 2.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this new duo work out here against Ho and Big Daddy. These guys have played quite a bit of 2v2, and their record, 5 wins, 4 losses, doesn't paint the prettiest of pictures, does it?
Yeah, but still, Ho and Big Daddy as a duo, they do have 2-1 2v2 record total, and total 5-4.
They have
2-1, 2-1, and 1-2. So with that 5-4, I think I'm doing my additions right.
Yeah, they have banned Pecker a few times.
What did they ban? Tornado?
No, they didn't ban.
A Balloon, right? Yes, I do remember them banning Balloon. That was really interesting, and we're gonna take a look. And
what
if we're going to see something interesting as a ban card,
will Tornado make it through?
This is what I love. Poison and Tornado ban. Now, what else do you really make out of? Rocket, I think, has the best value in terms of all the units being together.
But then getting them together without that Tornado can be troublesome.
We did see lots of key play with the Minion Horde. And not just with the Minion Horde, now we see a lot of balloons along with the freeze. And how can you really stop that freeze?
By delaying the defensive units until after the freezes come out, but then you have the problem of they're not going to freeze unless they really...
By using your own freeze.
That is a good counter. Yeah, sure.
I think Fireball, or you may actually just need to use the rocket right on top of the balloon, and it takes out, of course, you will lose the elixir trade, but if you get something else as well. Certainly a possibility, because Poison and Tornado has been banned out, and Fireball is not enough to take the balloon out by itself.
But a Balloon and Minion or Balloon and Archers can easily take it out before it gets there. You could also just use cards like Inferno Tower, Tombstone even. Those cards that will pull it down into the center, pull it away from your tower, still count as a counter. Goblin Hut, for example, is a great counter to it. Purely because what comes out of it can shoot upwards. It's the only tower that can do that. Fire Spirits, Furnace as well.
Yeah,
pretty good card.
We actually do not have a 5 elixir cost spell. What would be a good 5 elixir cost spell between Fireball and Rocket?
If only I can have it, an instant wind spell. Just does
a 5 elixir instant wind
5
spell?
elixir, 6,000 damage to the opponent's
what
tower.
What are you talking about?
That's perfect. Well balanced. If everyone can have it, it's balanced, all right?
Zero damage to the units, but 6,000 damage to the tower.
Yeah, perfect. What's wrong with that? I don't... This is why I work in balancing teams, you know? That's perfectly balanced. No, but I think for 6 elixir spell, 5 elixir spell, you want something that maybe combines arrows
so there's
and
a zap,
log.
Arrow, Fireball, log. The Rocket. What's in between 5 elixir?
Lightning.
Huh?
You missed lightning out of there. That's another 6
Oh,
elixir
lightning, yes,
spell.
but it only hits 3 though.
Freeze, heal.
Freeze is 4, heal 3.
Yeah.
There's no 5.
There is no 5. That's true. There is no 5 elixir
what if it comes out? That's what I'm saying. I think it's will actually be a decent one. Very well to counter the balloon.
Arrows range, knockback of the fireball. and a freeze.
How about you can change the arrow spell into 5 mana, 5 elixir cost, and then shoot a single target.
What, like you drag the card up, do some cool little symbols
with
with it,
super
and then
small
throw it?
radius, and then and you have to make that archer pose as well to fire it. Your camera sensor will grab your actual pose and then make sure.
Let's get
all
back
the angle.
into the real Clash Royale that we're watching right now, because the time is over. Both players, all players I should say, have made changes to their deck, and we are about to get into set number 2 between AHQ Yao Yao and Morris Lin versus King's Own Dragon X's Ho and Big Daddy.
Let's go. HQ, of course, in blue.
We can
the
already
Dragon
see
X in red.
Yeah, we can already see Rascals in
yes.
King's Own Dragon X's hands here.
But look at that. HQ has double the logs, so Rascal shouldn't be too much of a problem.
That's why you kind of want to bait it out, I guess, with the Goblin Gang and the Dark Goblins as well.
Look how many spells we have. Lightning, Rage, Fireball, and the log at the bottom.
So many spells.
Oh, even the Rocket from Kingdom Dragon X as well. Oh, we do have the arrow.
Whoosh!
A Rage going super dive in with the Golem, push from the Dark Prince as well.
The Golem are not the issues right now. The issues are those Princes. If they can connect onto the back lines of defense, they did a little bit, but kind of well defended there by King's Own Dragon X. Throwing the barrels on both towers here. Both get logged instantly.
Yes.
But the Infernal Dragon has connected.
Directly to the tower.
Oh, it's going down! Wow, that Infernal Dragon out of pretty much nowhere walks up to the tower and just takes it down instantly. King's Own Dragon X with the foresight to save that zap to take out to stop the Infernal Dragon from killing their own Infernal Dragon. Wow!
HQ Esports, I don't think they hold any zap. Maybe just one. But they have a lot of other spells, and that leads me to believe maybe they don't even have zap. But against a deck with lots of golems and lots of Infernal Dragons, I think you basically need the zap, not just a lightning spell.
Yeah, the lightning is a bit too heavy to play against those kind of things.
They do have the zap, but not at the moment when they needed it.
Oh, beautiful rocket. Got so much value taking out both Princes there. Oh my goodness. And these two Infernal Dragons are just walking up. There's a Goblin
all the way in
Gang.
the back. He's getting taken out from the Dark Prince. Easily done. But the double Infernal Dragon still on the way.
Yeah, and the Infernal Dragon, oh, unlucky for that pull there. If they didn't use that Ice Spirit there, I think that Infernal Dragon would have walked over to the tower a little bit quicker.
Bait, and then the barrel. Some damage done.
Didn't bait out the log here. The Rascals come out, take out pretty much nothing. The Knight here, the Prince running up to the tower, he's going to get taken out before he gets there with the Princess and the Infernal Dragon.
The Rascal didn't really get too much value, so HQ, I think, back on track there. And even the Rocket, just to take out the Infernal Dragon. I think it missed on the Golem.
Is that a zap then? I think we just saw that reset both those Infernal Dragons. I think it was.
Golems are diving in with the Rage.
Huge push.
Rascal defending pretty well. Those Rascal girls actually do a lot of damage from the back. Log comes now to defend, but already a tower down for HQ. That's going to be game number 1. Going to King's Own Dragon X with that Infernal Dragon basically just taking the tower. We did see that mistake as well. As it was a different type of mistake, but a mistake leading into Infernal Dragon just locking onto that tower, destroying it.
I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I'd say they kind of did prepare for it. They dropped down their own Infernal Dragon that was just a fraction too late, probably due to trying to get the elixir for it. And then out came a zap, reset that dragon, allowing King's Own Dragon X's Infernal Dragon just to take out that tower. And it was close. It was very, very close to dropping before it managed to take out that tower. We do see a timeout now being called by AHQ Esports.
Yeah, they actually won the first set, so this is not match point by any means by King's Own, but they just want to have the timeout, make sure they finish before they get into ace match. Because once they get into ace match, anything could happen, and King's Own Dragon X may just bounce back to have a 3-1 set point win, so they want to use that timeout before it happens. The Cherry Song. talking about the mistakes and what happened exactly in down that 2v2, why they were falling behind after the rage push. Of course, which was not the biggest rage push we have ever seen, but it was doing significant amount of damage every single time, about 700 to 800.
I don't think it was that successful just because there was so much defense by Kingzone Dragon X, making sure that everything behind the golem didn't connect. The Rascals was perfect in that position because the big boy at the front, he's going to take a lot of the damage, while the little girls at the back are just going to wipe out everything. And the Rascal girls, they deal so much damage.
Yeah, that's why you basically have to throw down that log to take them out, but if they are left alone, that's why they actually spawn Rascals off to the side so they don't get hit directly by the log. Oftentimes log will just come straight towards the center of the bridge all the way to the tower.
Yeah, they also played it a little bit back as well so that they have to walk into range. But what happens is the golem or whatever is pushing forward like kind of keeps the Rascal girls back while the Rascal boy just walks up and he starts taking damage.
So even in 2v2, we're seeing Rascals. I think we'll be seeing a lot more Rascals in play starting, as we said, starting yesterday, coming into week 5. From all regions, all games, even in ladder. Of course, it's one of the newest cards, so not really seeing in the ladder as much for now, but in competitive, it's being used quite often already.
Yeah, here's a pro tip for everyone out there. Do not use level 1 Rascals on ladder when you're already in like, you know, 3,900, 4,000 range.
To like level 8,
I saw it like,
ish.
honestly, I saw it 5 or 6 times yesterday. Level 1 Rascals in 1v1 ladder matches. I was like, why are you doing this? It's like playing Clash Royale on hard mode. Like, everything that they use just dies instantly to anything. Of course!
It will be quite humiliating if you lost against it.
A level 1 Rascal just destroys everything.
But the timeout, they had their 2 minutes. They got to talk to their teammates. And Hoyan Big Daddy finishes set number 2. Game 2.
Alright, so we have HQ Esports, Morrislin and Yao Yao in blue at the bottom. We have Korea's Kingzone Dragon X, Ho and Big Daddy in red at the top. Tombstone Miner comes down. Bats to clean up that miner, but do get zapped.
Ooh, look at that giant skeleton and with the rocket, so we do see some changes for HQ. And lots of logs available as well.
We've seen changes on both sides because now we see a Tesla tower being used for Kingzone Dragon X.
See a few more cards. Maybe they don't even have the Rascals available.
Royal Giant, what are you doing here?
Royal
This
Giant
is not my ladder games.
Directly to the Tesla and to the tower now. And Inferno Dragon still onto that. And Skeleton gets knocked off a little bit.
A Royal Giant.
Great amount of damage.
Next we're going to see Elite Barbarians, and then I'm going to have a heart attack on stage because I cannot bear those in my games.
I know how to do CPR, so it's totally fine.
I'll be safe. Miner comes out against the Princess, and then he's going to lock onto the Ice Golem, and suddenly everything is quiet on the battlefield.
And the Miner will chip down some of the damage as well for Kingdom Dragon X, but the guards are defending. Alright, some damage down to 2194.
Yeah, that Ice Golem MVP got all the way to the tower, but there was nothing behind him.
But they're getting ready for their Royal Giant once again. Even if you have the Tesla against the Royal Giant with so high of a hit point.
Why are you here?
Oh,
double Inferno Dragon.
Look at that. And the rocket getting massive value already. And even a fireball spent.
Yeah, but I'd still say both teams are kind of even now. Actually, it looks like Kingzone Dragon X have quite a big advantage in terms of elixir.
But they did have to throw down that rocket as well. It's even out with the Miners trading some damage as well.
I'd say overall, both teams are very, very even now. Even though there's about 100 damage, this push coming in from AHQ is dangerous. That bomb is going to take everything out here. Little bit of health left on that Inferno Dragon, but he will die to 1 or 2 hits. Rocket again. So it looks like the time for fun and games is over. We're just going to try and rocket down these towers.
Dude, they actually used the zap to take out the bats right before, so Inferno Dragon does lock and takes out the Takes out
Doesn't
the Royal
take out the
Giant.
Inferno Dragon. It went straight for the tower.
Yeah,
Misses the
another
Inferno Dragon.
rocket will actually finish the game for HQ. They only need to cycle out to the maximum damage. They're looking for the same for the Kingdom Dragon X. 563. They do have the rocket very soon.
Yeah, who's going to have the rocket? There's a fireball coming in soon somewhere.
And HQ
there we
does
go.
have the fireball with the zap and the log together. So they will finish up with all the spells. The first Royal Giant caught them off guard. Actually did close to 900 damage onto that Princess Tower, which basically snowballed and led them to this victory, I think. Kingdom Dragon X, they were also very close to be getting their rocket to finish off that tower at the bottom as well.
Yeah, it's hard to cycle through your deck and keep the elixir for the rocket. So what we saw there was they cycled as quickly as they possibly could, and then they just ran out of steam. They just didn't have enough elixir to be able to play the card. And we do have a timeout now being called by Kingzone Dragon X. They need to sit back and reset, because if they do lose this game, it's over for them.
It is over. HQ Esports Club on a match point. Set number 1, 2-0 for them. Set number 2, 1-1 right now. Tie. With so many spells we banned, we see a lot more spells of everything else. Rage, rocket, fireball, zap, log, even arrows in first game.
Yeah, arrows are pretty good. We saw arrows in that game too. Arrows were used by Kingzone Dragon X.
So we basically have everything except for the ones that are banned and the healing spell.
We didn't see a freeze.
Oh, not yet. But it's oftentimes used in 2v2. Healing spell was used, I believe, once.
I've seen a few healing spells so far.
Only once, though.
No, I think it's been used 3 or 4 times. It was used on a
2v2.
3 Musketeer push.
Oh, yes.
To try and keep those Musketeers alive. And you know what? Didn't work.
Yes, didn't work against the fireball.
We have another minute now of teams talking about their decks, what they're going to do. It does look like Expo Master is sniffing Ho's hair here. That's a bit on the close side.
He's just making sure. Hey, Expo 2v2. Let's do it. No, not the time.
Please,
not
no.
the time right now.
Please no Expo in 2v2. It's not the best of 2v2 cards. It can work if your opponent is completely unexpected.
Yeah,
but
Tesla works a lot better, but the last game was somewhat countered by the Royal Ghost. Not Royal Ghost, Royal Giant. Royal Ghost is often a lot more to seen compared to the Royal Giant.
yeah, it's very interesting. I don't think we're going to see Elite Barbs. I think that's one card we definitely are not going to see. Or I hope we don't see. We might see Bomber. Could be possible.
Bomber? Saw the bomb tower. I don't know about the bomber coming out. There are still a few cards yet to be seen, even in 2v2. Which are the cannon card,
Cannon,
bomber, and I think we got to see everything else except for those two.
Skeletons are used in the Expo Cycle deck. We saw... Yeah, I think we've seen nearly every other card.
Oh, except for that, we do see a lot more healing, a lot of spells. The game 3 is ready. Could be the final one of the set. Final one for the match. If HQ brings it for themselves, let's get into game 3. All right, it's arena time.
Game
Lava
3, Lava Hound. Are we going to see Balloon? There is a Lumberjack there as well, which is usually a sign there's a Balloon somewhere in these decks. But that Miner is just uncontested down on that bottom right side. He's going to deal a decent amount of damage.
Yeah,
Double.
does not care
and they have
about it.
Clone as well. Look at the Clone. It's ready to go. That's going to be
Even
so
the Skeleton Barrel, they are basically
so
massive pushing with the supplies that they have. Look at that Fireball. Will actually take a lot of them out with the Zap, but Clones still pushing directly in.
So much.
There are so many, even the Bats. Look at how many units they have. Even the Lumberjack going directly to the tower will get lands on hit 1, 2, 3. And we'll continue. And this tower is going down for sure. This is... What an insane push with the Clone here.
Yeah, we saw this deck very similar last Sunday, and it managed to take out the King Tower in one push. It was over in 20 seconds. It was insanely quick. It's a bit slower today. And they've only taken one tower, so there is time now. There is another 1 minute 45 seconds here for Kingzone Dragon X to calm down, bring this game back, and manage to take out these towers. They only need one tower to equalize the score.
They do have rockets, and Miner actually did quite a lot of damage. They can continue, but another push is coming. Last time they tried to defend it with the Infernal Dragon, which was basically countered with so many bats and all the clones.
This is the
happening
push.
exactly
There
again
we go.
with the same exact thing.
All the bats, the Night Witches, when she dies, she drops 2 bats.
Even
the
the
lava
skeleton
hounds, the
barrel
skeleton
going
barrel.
directly.
Everything. Does use the fireball, but doesn't connect onto the lava
Look
pumps.
at all those pubs. Massive
zap.
damage. This zap was actually amazing, but still the real lava hound does survive. Will get blown out now.
Doesn't do that much damage this time. They defended really well. They knew what was coming, and they defended, but they only have 60 seconds to attack. That defense was very, very expensive for Kingzone Dragon X here.
Double the Miner. There's less of a damage. They need to bring it down to 800s. They actually want to make that trade. Another push. This time, a single one.
Clone
So
is
no
coming in. There we go. What do you do against this? This is where arrows would be really nice, but you need to pop everything before you throw the arrows because there's just so many spawned units.
Great zap. The zap is the key part to take out so many clones at the same time. This rage not really getting the value too much, only onto the Infernal Dragon.
There is now 20 seconds for Kingzone Dragon X to take out that tower. 1,000 hit points. It's a tall order. There's 10
for
seconds
the Miner,
left.
and HQ knows that this is a cycle for the Miner to come out, even throwing the rocket just to secure some damage. And is it going to be enough? 242.
No.
The log, and it seems like they are lacking the elixir, and that's going to be game. And the match win for AHQ Esports Club.
Such a powerful 2v2 strat. So many units there. When they die, they summon a ton of units. The Lava Hound, the Night Witch. You clone a Night Witch, suddenly that's 4 bats every few seconds. It's crazy. And then when she dies, another 2 bats spawn. And then the bats with the
They
pups,
even had bats.
just and then the barrels drop.
Skeleton barrels, yes.
Skeletons
Drop
do
another
not.
skeleton.
They don't lose anything. That's the thing. Skeletons cloned don't lose any stats because they still die in 1 hit to everything.
Yeah, a zap will take everything out, but only within the small radius. And if you cannot get the perfect hit onto so many units, that's what happened at the first push of the double Lava Hound with the skeleton barrel and the. What an amazing push with the clone, and Kingzone Dragon X really caught off guard in the final game. And they have HQ really brought in something else, another spice, I would say, into this 2v2.
Yeah, it was just over so quickly after that first game. Game 1, it looked like Ho and Big Daddy would win this game. And then game 2 and 3, they were just outplayed, outclassed. They had no answer for what AHQ Esports were bringing. This one was close. One more rocket would have won it, and we could see that they were spamming it. Didn't get it off.
563, one more rocket with another, maybe a fireball. Could have finished it, but not in time. This was the push from the beginning.
Yeah, look at all those blue units there.
All those bats. The bats actually did not get caught by the zap as much. And they did most of the damage along with the pups. That's going to be the win. And we will actually have the interview from AHQ Esports Club. See what the player has to say about the match.
한국에서 펼쳐지는 동남아와의 경기 그 둘째 날 동남아 팀 AHQ와 한국 팀 킹존의 대결 함께 하셨는데요. 그 결과 기쁜 승리로 원정 경기에서 첫 포문을 연 AHQ 그 누구보다 승리에 기뻐하고 있을 야오야오 선수와 인터뷰 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
嗨，你好。
Hello，大家好。
We'll have an
첫
interview with
원정
Yao Yao.
경기신데 한국 1위 팀을 이기신 소감 한 말씀
How does it feel
부탁드릴게요.
to beat
这是你
number
第
one
一
from
次在
Korea?
海外打的，而且是和一个韩国队打，你的感想怎么样？
我觉得还蛮好玩的，尤其是来韩国这边有很多好吃的食物，所以我觉得非常开心。
네, 이겨서 기쁘고 무엇보다 한국에 맛있는
Of course,
음식들이
it feels
많아서
good. There are lots of great
더
food in
기쁜 것
Korea,
같습니다.
and I think we're great
대형
about
소품
that as well.
장인을 가장 경계되는 선수로 뽑으셨는데 그 팀을 이기셔서 되게 기쁘실 것
And you
같아요.
picked Kingdom Dragon X as
저희
one of the
한국
strongest
선수도
teams.
讲Expo Masters
And also Expo Master as
选手，但是
strongest opponent possibly,
你
and
的
I'm
感
pretty
想
sure
怎么
you're
样？
happy about that as
因为
well.
我的队友赢了他，是因为我们有针对他的卡组去做训练，然后抓到他想使用的卡组，然后我们就赢了。
이기게 된 어떻게 이기게 됐냐면 이제
The reason
엑스포
why we won.
마스터님이 쓰시는 카드들을 잘 연구하고 그에 맞서서
We
어떻게
studied a
할지
lot about Expo
연습을 많이
Master and
해가지고
how to
이기게 된것
counter.
같아서 정말
And
기쁩니다.
I think that's why we were
네,
able to win.
모리슬린
Studying
선수와
a lot about
2대2는
it.
첫 호흡이신데 오늘의 호흡에 대해서 점수를 매기시자면 몇 점을 주실
How
수
about your first
있으실까요?
2v2 with Yao Yao and Morris Lin?
跟 Morris Lin 一起打。
Was your first time having 2v2
如果你
competitive?
讲今天配
How
的
would you
怎么
score
样，给一个
yourself?
分数的话，你会给几分？
我觉得大概有85分吧，虽然说我们有一些小失误，不过后面配合的就越来越好了。
네, 한 85점 정도 주고
I would give
싶습니다.
about 85.
앞에 조금의 실수가 있었는데
Did make few
뒤쪽에서는
mistakes.
점점 좀
But I
호흡이
think we
좋아지는
started
것
to get
같았습니다.
better as we started,
네,
as
야오야오
we played
선수
more
이때까지
games.
2대2만 출전하셨어요. 다음에는 1대1에서도 볼 수 있을까요?
Yao Yao, you played in 2v2 tonight. Can we expect to see you in
你有
some
会不会
1v1
有一
games
些
as
欲
well?
望想在1比1打吗？
当然打1v 也可以，但是因为2v2的快乐感觉是更多的，基本上是超过双倍或4倍，所以因为玩起来非常的好玩，所以我喜欢打2v2。
네, 물론 1대1도 하고 싶지만 2대2 같은 경우에는
Certainly, I do want to play 1v1.
두 배, 4배 정도로 그게 좀 빨리 진행되고 좀 더 격하게
But 2v2,
진행돼서
it's the speed
개인적으로 좀
and
2대2에서
the requirement for the power.
더
It's like
즐겨 하는
twice the
편입니다.
power, 4 times the power. I
네,
think we
아까
have to
한국
focus a
음식이
lot
굉장히
more
맛있다고
on 2v2 for
하셨는데
now.
제일 좋아하는 한국 음식이
You said
있으신가요?
you like a lot of
刚
Korean
才你
food.
说
Which
韩国
one
有
is
很
your
多美
favorite?
食，你特别喜欢哪一个？
我觉得那个猪骨汤跟韩式炸鸡挺好吃的，然后还有人参鸡还没吃到，就等一下可能我们就会去吃人参鸡汤。
네, 치킨이랑
I do like the
감자탕이
Korean
정말
chicken.
맛있었는데
Yeah,
정말
I like the
먹어보고 싶은
potato
거는
stew as well.
삼계탕인데 아마 이따가 먹어보지 않을까
And the
싶습니다.
chicken stew.
네,
Chicken soup, that's
역시
one of the best
국경을
ones
넘는
called
치느님
samgyetang.
저도 치킨 되게 좋아하거든요.
She likes a lot
내일
of
오지엔
chicken-related
엔투스와
food.
대결이 있어요. 이제 경기를 봤을 텐데 경계되는 선수가 있으신가요?
明天你就是会跟 OGN Entus 一起打。
And your next matchup
你
against
会不会
OGN
说
Entus, can you
哪
pick
一
a
个
player from OGN
选手
Entus
是你
that
觉
you
得
guys are
最
keeping
强
your
的
eyes
一
on?
个选手？
我不确定哪个选手是最强，因为我每个选手我都觉得他们厉害，基本上都是全力以赴的去准备，所以都很厉害。
어떤 누구 한 명이라고 할 것 없이
You can't
정말
really
너무
pick on
열심히
a single player.
대회에 임해주고 정말 열심히 경기하셔가지고
We'll try to prepare for
다
every
정말
single one
대단한
of them.
선수들이라고 말할 수
And I
있을 것
think they're really
같습니다.
great
그럼
players
내일
as well, so
경기에
we will
대해서
just
각오
study hard.
한마디 부탁드릴게요.
Let's get to hear what you have to say
对
going
明
into
天那个
tomorrow's match.
明天的决心呢？
明天一定会赢。
내일도 분명히 이길 것입니다.
We will win tomorrow
네,
as well.
내일도 멋진 경기 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 네, 이렇게 해서 AHQ가 킹존을 상대로 승리를 거두며 공동 6위로 올라섰습니다.
Yeah, that was
다시 한번
it
축하드리고
with Yao Yao
내일도
having the
멋진 경기
interview with
기대해 보도록
very
하겠습니다.
confident
자,
interview
그럼 잠시
as well.
후에 킥스와 OPGG 경기로 다시 돌아올게요. 뿅!
And was pretty confident from Yao Yao, and you were caught in the camera for a
I
second.
was. I was like, oh, I'm looking.
Off guard, never be off guard. That's the competitive, but get ready, guys. Match 2 is coming right up after the commercial break. We will be back shortly. Welcome back to Clash Royale Asia. 5-day 1 or day 2.
Something broken inside of you? Like, what was that intro? First game today, first match, we saw AHQ Esports beat Kingzone Dragon X. Kingzone Dragon X now haven't won a game, haven't won a match since week 2.
Yes.
It's a disaster for them. They need to turn it around as quickly as possible because all the other Korean teams are catching up.
Expo Master has been known to not make mistakes and to actually catch up to the Elixir when he makes a mistake, but it was big enough to actually lose the entire game. Both of the games, actually. Just throwing out that balloon, losing after waiting 2 minutes. Two first minutes just being burned out, and he just threw that all away with a huge mistake. Couldn't really come back from that one.
No return from that. Like, just losing that balloon before he connected to the tower. Huge mistake. But let's get on to the next match. We have Kicks versus OP.GG Skeleton.
Lovely intro of the two teams. We do have two teams at the venue right next to us. You can actually peek at the window. Take a look at them with live audience. A lot of them.
Yeah, surprisingly full. I walked in and I was like, oh, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people standing.
Well,
yeah, it was super warm.
Lots of backpacks.
Kicks 3-3, 5th place. Dylan the Rock, Tauki, and Jahuiz. I haven't casted Kicks before. Is that how you pronounce it? Jahuiz?
Jahuiz, yes.
Jahuiz?
Yes.
So it's Kicks Gaming. We actually spoke to them a little bit, not too much. And they seem pretty confident today.
Yeah, let's see how they will do tonight. Yesterday against OG Entus, they did record a loss. Coming up into match day 2. Should be feeling a little bit better. Do have the different roster as well, but against them, OP.GG Skeleton also coming in with a loss against Chaos Theory. The losers from last night will be going against each other. We did have lots of Charshu, I believe, was the one that played 1v1. Didn't really try Golem decks. That was his favorite. Didn't really work out as he intended to be someone not really in play at all from the roster. Most of the games, the top 3 players, what you see on the screen, will be playing very likely.
Yeah, Chasu, Oichan, Jin TV, and Songwon. Here they are standing together. OPGG, not the best of results so far. They've been a little bit on the shaky side. Hopefully they can turn it around quickly, just like Sandbox have turned their results around. Hopefully we can see OPGG turn it around as quickly as possible.
We'll see the final player. We'll be shaking hands and going directly to that 1v1. I believe that's Dylan. And didn't get to quite see.
Jin TV.
Jin TV, yes. Be up for that 1v1. Look at that. Both teams ready to look at that monitor and see how well the player is doing. There's Dylan. This 1v1. Look at that. Lots of being in play with 1v1 and also 2v2. Basically, every single game, I believe.
Yeah, he's a very flexible player. He can play pretty much anything. Seems that his results in 1v1 are a little bit better than his 2v2, but overall, that's the kind of player you want in your first slot. A player that can play 1v1, a player that can play 2v2, and is comfortable doing both. And Dylan is that player for Kicks. He can play in any position, the 1v1, the 2v2, and if there was a 3v3, I'm sure he would be in there too.
Yeah, Dylan oftentimes was the one to play in the ace match as well. Let's see how well he can do against his opponent, Jin TB from OP.GG Skeleton. We really have to say the dot every single time.
OPGG, just remove the dot.
Yes,
but we can see his results: 6 wins, 6 losses, and in 2v2, 2 losses.
Yeah, 2v2 against Fab Gaming with Charshu, but 1v1, actually holding in a pretty good record. 6-6. 50-50.
50-50. So there's a 50-50 chance he'll win today, and there's a 50-50 chance he won't. But here we have the poison ban again, and a giant ban from Jin. Interesting. Again.
Oh, look at that. I don't know if Dylan's frustrated about the ban or he's not even considered about the ban.
I think he's just got his game face on right now.
Or it's either that, or sometimes what happens is the player will actually listen 100% to what the coach says, so he doesn't even think of what to do. And then once he gets the deck compiled by the coach of what they practiced, and then they start to practice. Really think about the deck, what he wants to do. But before that, he just wants to relax and calm his mind, because with these many cameras, with the spotlight, with live audience, even the Korean commentators are right next to them, it will be pretty tough to actually get familiar with the environment, with so many staff around them as well.
Yeah, the giant ban is very much a targeted ban against Dylan, I feel. And we can see it in his face, like, oh, all right, well, I gotta refocus myself here. The poison ban, though, is a very common ban that we see a lot. We see it banned in 1v1. We saw it banned in the last 2v2. It's a great card. And the debate is still raging whether poison or fireball is better.
Let me actually take a look at my G-Clef stats here. As Dylan played 45 different cards already. Wow. A lot of different decks, including the giant.
What you can't see is G-Clef struggling to look through his list. It's so small right now. Trying to find the word giant. And he's still looking.
No, he did not play giant.
He hasn't played giant.
Once only, and he lost. And
so
most common one was actually his own poison, used 6 times. Lots of Dark Prince as well. And most of his games come from 1v1, also in 2v2 a little bit, but a lot more in 1v1.
But poison is one of those cards that is so flexible that even if you ban it yourself, you kind of can replace it. You know what I mean? Like it's a flex card. It's not a staple of your deck. It's just a card that you use to chip out a little more damage or to kill out a horde of units.
Yeah, Dylan was one of the first ones to actually use the Battle Ram into 1v1 as well, with the charge decks. And the only one to use the mirror card as well in the first few weeks in their own region, I believe. We'll see a lot of different possibilities. Because he has played so many already, it will be a pretty hard task for Jin TV to snipe onto a single deck that Dylan wants to play.
Yeah, so we do see 20 seconds remaining. I gotta ask, who do you think is gonna win? I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who are you predicting
Well, quote unquote from Simon 2018, they have 50% and chance of winning and 50% chance of losing.
They either win or they lose. Or they tie.
Right. Yes, that is also a possibility, but they will have an extra game if they tie. And in terms of Jin TB, he was banning lots of Battle Ram, so I was expecting him to ban Battle Ram because Dylan was actually really decisive and quick on the tempo of how he was using the Battle Ram and the Bandit, the Dark Prince, charge in.
He could have figured out how to defend it and doesn't feel like he needs to ban it anymore.
Yes,
that's a very possibility, yes.
It's been some time, and maybe just a few structures.
Yeah, well, we have seen Dylan play, I think in his challenge, he played a lot of Goblin Huts. So that is definitely another possibility.
Yeah, Jin TV, compared to any other, especially the Korean players, just like to play lots of Ice Golem to draw, but the game is ready. They got their 3 minutes. First game between the two teams. Kicks, OPGG, Skeleton. This team will be taking the lead. Let's go into the arena.
So here we are. Goblin Gang thrown out straight away by Dylan in the blue for kicks. And the Ice Golem used by Jin TV.
Told you Ice Golem from Jin TV is the way to go. And the barrel with the log, perfect one. I think we're seeing a lot more barrel, not just because of the barrels, but because of the Rascal that might be in play anytime. Oh, the Mortal comes out, your favorite. Oh, used to be favorite.
Used to be my favorite card. I eventually switched to a Golem, but Mortar is such a good card for what we've seen so far from
Very
GTV.
slow, but quite a low elixir actually 4. Compared to the Expo, does about the same thing.
Yeah, those goblins do connect, and there's the Goblin Gang that'll take out the Princess and push forward. There's the Rascals in 1v1, our first today.
Yeah, Dylan does have the log as well, so not going to be the biggest problem for him. He does have his own Rascals as well.
There's a fireball.
Look at that. Perfect fireball connecting to the tower.
3 hits. We're still seeing a lot of new things with the Rascals, so bear with us while we try to figure out how the pros are going to be using them.
So either you bait the log with the Rascal or the barrel. So which one do you make the choice with? The barrel will do direct damage. Even the Rascals, they will come directly at you.
Yeah, those spear goblins from the Goblin Gang do manage to connect onto the tower, bringing it down just a little bit. It's very, very even right now. Both players are still figuring out what their opponent is going to do. The Rascals card is out. A Mortar deck.
Let's see if
Dylan,
he is actually going to continue with the Minion Horde along with the Miner. Let's see how well the Minion Horde and the Tornado to counter.
Yeah, very good counter there. Lets the Princess Tower just take it down in one shot instead of the normal 2 or 3. And that's a log to take out the Princess almost instantly.
Yes, already using it because you do have a lot of elixirs left for yourself. So dropping down a lot of golems, baiting out that barrel.
Yeah, make sure that the Mortar doesn't actually connect onto your tower at all. Very important because it does deal quite a bit of damage.
So log is available for GTV. He also has thrown the barrel. He's taking out with the log again.
Yeah, baiting that log there with the barrel does allow the Rascals here to push forward. Unfortunately, the Mortar takes him out instantly.
Princess that did survive for a long, long time, doing some damage off to the long range.
Yeah, it looks like Dylan here has switched to using that Mortar defensively, making sure that the Goblin Gangs, the barrels, the Princesses don't live long enough to be able to deal any damage here.
Great fireball, not really catching the boy in front, but still damaging the tower.
The Inferno Dragon doesn't connect onto the tower. I was kind of expecting it to. It's very, very close quarters. There's the Minion Horde. Princess is going to just deal with that kind of instantly.
Yeah, Princess is not getting taken out by the log. It's really hard. Dylan only has a few ways of defending. This log will get massive value getting the log and the girls. Rascal girls right behind.
Cleaned up everything, but Jin TV does have the advantage going into this last 2 minutes and 30
Steven
seconds.
uses that to reset because it connected to the Mortal. Great fireball
832 hit points left on that bottom left-hand side tower. Will Dylan be able to push forward and take this game? It doesn't look like he is. He is always seemingly on the back foot. Perfect.
Just because of one more card. Now Dylan switching off to defensive mode. Forward coming in as defense now.
Jin TV with the perfect timing there on that, playing that Goblin Gang. The log almost hit them, just expired a moment before. It's happened to me multiple times.
Draws in the Miner to activate the King Tower. This was what I was expecting because he was basically waiting for that Tornado every single time for that Minion Horde, but once it was used as a defensive tool, Jin TV actually can cycle out to counter the Miner just like that.
There's another zap, making sure that the Inferno Dragon changes its target, but it's not going to matter because the Ice Golem is doing a good job of keeping the aggro from those mortar towers and just not allowing it to connect to the tower. The Princess here won't kill the whole gang in one, but makes it easier to clean up for the Princess Tower. Jin TV definitely has an advantage here.
Yeah, with the King Tower activated, the Miner will be a lot weaker as well. Fireball all the time hitting the tower. Does that 1 minute? Can he pull it off with a few more hits from the barrel and the...
I think it might be time for Jin TV to move his barrel placement because
the Mortal actually doing some damage to the tower now, so it brings it about one more hit will actually even out, but goes down right before the Miner.
Yeah, but the Miner does come out. The Rascals here played, and that almost ruined the positioning. We almost had the Rascal girls in front of the boy, and we never want that.
Miner doesn't even get 3 hits, only 2 hits. On. May actually go into a draw. So you only have 600 some left onto each tower. The fireball will not take him out. And it was used off to the side, hitting the mortal instead. I think GTV really wants to go for
Spear Goblin did connect. Did connect a few times. 531 on that tower. That's 2 fireballs and a little bit extra from something, but it doesn't look like we're going to get to that point. The log has been used on the other side. That opens the timing for this barrel. Will he be able to do it?
So the barrel does not connect any damage to the tower, and fireball will not finish it in time.
So game 1 is a tie.
Mortal was basically used for lots of defensive use, hitting onto the Rascal, actually taking out the girls. Very defensive movements coming out from Dylan, a great way to counter each deck. They both had Rascals. They were trying to use it in their first game, trying to upset the opponent, but they were thinking somewhat of a similar thing going into game 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, the mortar had to be used all the time on the defense. And when you're playing mortar, you always want it to connect at least once onto the tower.
Yeah, it's really hard against a lot of the goblins because the mortal shoots so slowly.
Yeah. The mortar just doesn't quite manage to reach the goblins before they run out of the range or run out of the area of effect. So it targets onto empty space. And suddenly, that mortar is a very wasted slot in your deck. Could we have seen an Expo in place of that mortar, and would that have changed the result of that?
I think it's a lot heavier for your cycle. When you have a lot of those goblins, you have the Goblin Gang, Goblin Spear. If you want to stop all the miners, all the barrels, all the princes to do direct damage to the tower, you do want to cycle a lot quicker. So I think that's the reason why we saw Mortal instead of Expo. To have quick cycles, that was the answer.
So now they have 10 seconds to make any last-minute changes. I really think that there will eventually come a time where we'll be using Rascals and Expo together.
Yeah, you can. I tried this morning, which failed against your golems, but...
Oh yeah, let's talk about the fact that I 4-0'd you before the start of today.
The time is up. I just wanted to make Simon happy because he's having some tough life.
No, I'm not. Why do you think I'm having a tough life? My life is perfectly fine.
Oh, but the game is not perfectly fine. Of course, it's a draw, but 2 wins in a row will basically finish this match. Still on to a tie. Let's see if we are going to see that Rose Rascals once again because it's open again. Let's get into game 2. Dylan versus Jin TV.
All right, so here we are. We have Kix's Dylan in blue at the bottom, OPGG Jin TV in red at the top of the screen.
Well, this may be an Expo from Dylan. I think that's high chance. There's a high chance.
It doesn't look like he's going to use Rascals here because the Rascal girls are already on the field. Here we have the Rascals played by Jin TV. Baby Dragon targets the miner. The Dark Prince is going to go down to the bats.
Look at how much damage the girls do, actually. Look at that.
The damage on this tower.
One on the Baby Dragon, one to the tower. Look at that, 866.
The bats did so much work onto that tower. If they'd have connected onto the Baby Dragon, it wouldn't have been as effective as that.
One small fire onto that tower instead. But massive trade for Jin TV.
Yeah, great play. Here's the Golem, though. That suddenly changes everything. And Jin TV, perfect response, goes down the other side, throws out the Skeleton Barrel. The Skeleton Barrel, if it connects, does a lot of damage. There's the Miner. The Archers are on the field, but the Skeleton Barrel does connect.
So much damage
There's
right now.
No answer.
The Baby Dragon at the moment will actually... Oh, that's in a lot of the range. Of course, Poison Band, but Fireball will just take that out. He's onto his own push. The Golem is connecting. It's just those Rascals. The girls are doing so much damage to the Golem, though. Getting taken out by the Minion Horde. Mega Minion.
Yeah, unfortunately, this looks like it might be the end of the tower because that Mega Minion and Baby Dragon are going to connect. The Baby Dragon keeps going. The 2 Golems now split up a little bit. That tower is almost dead, but The story is Jin TV has 2 towers in a very low range of HP. So even if he loses that top left-hand side tower, he'll still just walk down the other lane and finish the tower off.
Yeah, Dylan is just buying time. He knows that there was a fireball from GTV and his right tower is going down, certainly. He wants to make an offensive move already, even though he knows that the right side is going down regardless.
Yeah, unfortunately, this time the skeleton barrel didn't connect to the tower, but it doesn't matter for Jin TV because it's so low. He has to defend this push, and he has to defend it better than he did last time. Dark Prince, again, 2 Dark Princes in this push now. The miner is there on the defense, not where you want it. The tower at the top left side is dead. The bat's doing work on the defense, but the baby dragon will clean that up. Incoming goblin gang. Not enough to take down the baby dragon, but the tower will take it out. Will it be able to take out the skeletons before he finishes? Yes.
With the king tower also and fireball. Get it down. Another golden push, but the miner and the rascals, they are going with the speed. We're talking about speed here. Jin TV so much faster with the miner and the rascal going directly, but the golem now also approaches the tower. Bought just enough time for him to actually do the damage. 330 out of fireball range.
Yeah, but look at that top right-hand side tower on Jin TV's red tower. Oh, it's going down. 724 now in fireball range.
With the log and the fireball, that will be game, and Jin TV will bring a victory for himself in game number 2. That was a close one, gotta say.
That was a game about fractions. They gave an inch and they had to try and take a mile, but they were getting like an inch and a half instead. It was so close, back and forth. Jin TV got massive trades right at the beginning. The bats, the skeleton barrel, everything just did a lot of damage, taking both those towers down. And for Dylan, he just couldn't bring it back. It was too much of an ask to equalize after going down by that much HP at the beginning.
It was certainly a tough one to come back, as Jin TV also had the fireball for himself. In this case, what is the real problem? Gotta ask.
There was no problem there. I think he was caught a little bit off guard with the bats actually connecting onto the tower and the baby dragon going for the miner instead of the bats. But I honestly, I don't think Dylan made a mistake in that game. I think it was just, as I said, it was a little bit of just trying to take too much.
Also, Jin TV stopped playing because I believe the bats were spawned after the miner came in. When the baby dragon locked onto the miner, that's when the bats started to come right after.
I think Dylan would have been fine on that first push if those bats connected onto his baby dragon instead. I think he'd have had a lot more time to stabilize. But because they connected onto that tower, he had no chance. Like, that tower just went down way too quickly. The bats deal a ton of damage, especially with the rascal girls in the back. It's a lot of hit points being taken off per hit.
Yeah, you actually use a log every time against those girls. I think that is the key point we want to make here, as that basically a bait saying, okay, you do have the log, but where do you want to use it? I have lots of choices. You can choose them, but if you choose one, I'll have another answer. If you choose answer B, answer maybe number C. If you choose C, you go back to A and play A. So there were lots of strategies prepared by Jin TV with those rascals.
Yeah, the log bait seems to have got a lot stronger now with the introduction of the rascals, because there's another target that you want to lock down. So now you have the goblin barrel, the goblin gang, spear goblins, rascals, princess. All those cards deserve a login, you know? You need to log their noggins. You need to log in their noggins. That's not going to work.
So what this is telling us right now
is
we're saying log into the game and then get those rascals, play them, and make sure learn how to bait out the log. That's actually a very interesting mechanics in Clash Royale, how you bait the spell and then that's when you go into your own attack right after. Maybe the same one for game number 3, but Jin TV wins this one. It will be a set point for a BGG skeleton. See if they can tie it up.
Kicks his Dylan in blue at the bottom. Has to win this game now. But OPGG Skeletons Jin TV
Elixir Collector
drops the Elixir Collector, meaning we're going to see a very heavy deck.
Was I too spooky?
No, I wasn't spooky.
Okay.
Wasn't spooky enough for me, but if we see Skeletons, that's definitely too spooky for me.
Dylan not dropping out anything, which means that he may not have the spells in his hands at the moment. No Fireball, no Poison. Of course, Poison is banned.
Sometimes you want to leave that Elixir Collector and just push really hard, but it doesn't look like Dylan has the deck to punish that.
But at the moment the Elixir Collector drops down, that's when you want to push before the opponent gets the value out of it. But nothing right now being handled by it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Dylan has the
And
cards
they will get
to
the
be
dash
able to deal with
into
it.
the tower even.
Oh, it's an Expo.
So many direct hits.
This is a very interesting
Oh,
Expo.
Man. Bandit and the Mega Minion will finish the tower already. A late Expo response with the Furnace from Dylan.
This Expo deck from Dylan is just, it's a mishmash of everything, and it doesn't seem to have any kind of strength right now.
Against this kind of heavy push with the dash in, even the guards, he had it. Yeah, he could defend it, but a perfect log to take out all the shields from the guards. He does have Fireball now, but very late in his hand. If he had it right when the Elixir Collector was re-dropped, I think he could have at least stopped it a little bit better. And he's already down to 920. And this Golem is walking straight into 3 crowns.
It doesn't seem like there's much synergy with the cards that Dylan has played, and that is over.
That's 3 crowns, JTB taking a win.
That deck from Dylan there was, I don't know what to say. We didn't really get to see it perform, but I don't think it can perform.
Sometimes due to your starting hand, you do have the Expo the moment the Elixir Collector is dropped on the arena. That's actually the moment for you to drop the same Elixir cost, 6 cost. Expos blocking straight into the tower most likely. And do the initial damage before the Golems come in. That's how you trade, but just leave that Elixir Collector with the Golem just straight diving into your side. How can you really punish that without a Fireball?
But it was the rest of the deck that, to me, was just odd. Furnace, Goblin Hut. Do you really want to pack those cards in with an Expo deck?
Yeah, it's certainly possible, but you really have to look for a long game where you basically use everything as a defensive tool. Furnace, very high point as well for that Elixir cost. Expo also as a defensive tool first, and then maybe switching into the offensive side. That was possible, but way too late of a response.
I disagree. I just don't think that deck had much going for it. There was nothing really... there was nothing to defend, and he didn't get to attack. I mean, what could he do there? We saw the bats there take out that tower so quickly. And at this point, it's kind of over for Dylan. Even though he gets the first tower, both those towers are so low that any kind of push finishes it off. But let's just take a quick look at this deck. Guards, Furnace, Hut, Expo. There's nothing there.
And the Furnace was actually placed behind the tower, so he couldn't even use that as to block the Golem. So a little bit of indecisiveness was also the placement miss, I would say. Because the Fire Spirits, of course, you want to get the maximum value out 2 Fire Spirits every single time. But if you have a tower down, I would rather lose a Furnace than the actual tower.
I just don't get that. I don't think you can put an Expo in a spawner deck and call it a day. It just doesn't mesh well for me. But we are about to get into the 2v2 with Kix and OPG Skeleton. On the screen, Kix, Taoki, and Jahuiz. New team up here, new 2v2 team. We don't have much to say about these guys. We don't have any stats on them, I think.
Let's take a look at Taoki. He did play some 2v2 with the Rock and 1v1 as well. But Jahuiz, first time ever out now, and we only have, see how we only have his favorite card instead of most played card.
So what can we tell you about Jahui G? according to the Korean pronunciation, but I don't think it's pronounced like that.
I think it's Huiz.
Yeah, I think it's Jahuiz. Let me find my sheet. Oh, it is G.
Huizi.
Yeah, Jahui. I'm not even gonna try. I'm just gonna call him Jay. All right. So he's from Singapore.
Just cut down everything and call him Jay.
Just call him Jay.
And how about ENC on the side as well?
We have ENC for OVGG Skeleton. Won 3 games, lost 2 games. These two have played together for a while.
Yes.
I think they have been friends for a long time
Yeah,
too.
Chashu actually playing lots of 1v1, but Lee-chan is the leader, and he has been leading the team quite well. And playing lots and lots of 2v2s here, as he has 8 wins, 1 tie, 5 losses in 2v2 personally. Both tornado bans. Okay, we're off to
a very standard 2v2 ban here. Jahuichi, his thoughts on becoming a professional player is he's excited and nervous. And that's about all I can see on this.
Of course, and also his first match.
Yeah, it's got to be.
region.
Yeah, coming to Korea for your first match has got to be very, very daunting. Because it's a proper live audience. There's a decent amount of people watching this in the audience. It's kind of humid in there. It's under the lights, in front of the stage. There's the big screen that we don't see in other regions. It's got to be nerve-wracking for these guys.
Look at that. And the win rate.
So when tornadoes have been banned by both teams, Oi-chan and Chasu have 100% win ratio.
Only 2 games though, so that doesn't really tell too much. And that's why we have ban card and banned card, which was by the opponent. The tornado was banned from both sides. That's a stat what they had. It is the same. Last time I believe they had massive golem, the double golem push.
Yeah, they did. They had very strong, heavy pushes that just kind of plodded down the lane and made it very hard for them to take out. They did make a couple of mistakes, I think the last time we saw them, where they played double golem at the bridge and had nothing to defend on the other side and just lost the game.
Yeah, the key point has been lots of balloon and threes last night. Seems like we're off to a different one today with match number 1. Being a little bit different without the poison spell, but that will be in play this time. So depending on how well you can actually use that spell and make your own push with the rage, speeding up the golem, and having someone to back it up just to push that golem in front.
Yeah, we might see a return of the double giant skeleton clone that we've seen before on the defense. Incredible defense on that push, but it doesn't really have much of a bite going forward, so you have to support it with other cards, like the Lava Hound or something like that.
Yeah, there has to be some other type of push. Lava Hound also has been coming out a lot. Oh, we just saw double Lava Hound with the Skeleton Barrel and the Clone. It's having an insane push in match 1. See what other strategies. Still, these players and teams are being so creative with the 2v2s, coming up with new things every single time.
And it's a revolving door as well, because like a deck that suddenly comes out and is super creative.
It's like fashion.
Yeah, like a deck that they were playing in week 1 is arguably the perfect counter to it. So these decks are rotating a lot, because what one team brings, another team is like, oh, well, that deck we played in week 1 would beat that deck, so let's play that. And this is going to keep going and going and going throughout the whole tournament. What?
I saw the players' cards.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What did they have?
Prince.
Obviously.
Yes, that was the only card.
Let me guess, there was a Dark Prince in there as well.
I think so.
Oh.
And the Golem possibly.
You can't just throw a Golem possibly here, but if
I'm certain I saw a Prince on the screen for a second.
But that's a very common pick. I was hoping you'd find the rare card on the screen, the one that we don't see that much.
A rare card?
Elite Barbs.
Fireball.
Elite Barbarians, man. Elite Barbarians. It's
I
gonna happen.
I thought you were anti-Elite Barbarian, but we're ready to jump into game. 2v2 between Jawizi, Tauki from Kicks, Wei-chan and Charshu from OPGG Skeleton. Let's dive into the arena.
We're gonna go ask Jahuiz to change his name. It's a bit too difficult to pronounce.
I will just ask him how to pronounce 100%. The Prince, of course, I didn't see that on screen. I was right. Yes,
Yeah.
the golem.
Yeah, Kicks.
100% prediction rate.
Kicks in blue at the bottom do play that golem. Prince, Ice Wizard here. Oichan and Chasu chose the air route with the Lava Hound, Inferno Dragon, and Mega Minion.
Range, getting out of the range of the Inferno Dragon. The first one gets caught with the second one, so will not be having massive damage this time. Poison is available with the
poison.
Miner.
But look at this push that's coming through. 2 Mega Minions, 2 Inferno Dragons. That's a lot of damage on the cards, especially with that Miner in the back of the tower.
Zap already. Oh,
that's too early.
Way too early from Kicks.
This could be it. Both these Inferno Dragons connect onto the tower with a flying machine.
Look at the damage.
It.
Look at the number going down below 2,000. Now, there's a Zap to refresh, but look at the damage. Insanely done. That was possibly the
second quickest game we've seen.
On 2v2?
In 2v2, we saw a much quicker game last week. It finished in like 25 seconds. I'm not joking. But that was incredibly quick as well.
I thought the Zap was from Kicks. It was actually from OPGG doing damage to the King Tower because I was trying to see. I was reading the numbers and it was not slowing down at all.
Yeah, I was like,
what a push! The early Zap to take out the small bats instead of refreshing, thinking about a few seconds after. Even with this perfect Zap, I think they were going to at least lose a tower and more.
I don't think there was anything. I think they realized once 2 Mega Minions and 2 Inferno Dragons are bearing down on your tower, you're not going to be able to defend that, especially when you have no elixir left over.
I think the only answer they had at the moment is the magical Simon 5 elixir card.
Yeah, just instantly takes out the tower. But I don't think there was much Kicks could do there. Their push kind of fell flat.
They spent, it was
a lot of elixir.
They were not really waiting for their double golem and to have lots of prints with lots of units. You have to have some small units like the bats or the minions to actually draw some attentions away from the Infernal Dragons. But in this case, golem broke apart. Prince went down from that Infernal Dragons. It's having the rage, thinking that it's going to push all in. It's not going to work. A lot of these teams had lots of experiences against the golems. They know exactly what to do. And that was a very simple attack that's been long time ago. They've been playing for 5 weeks already. Will they actually change up this time from Kicks? First game went to OPGG. Game 2 is ready. Let's get in.
Alright, so here we are. Kicks in blue at the bottom, OPGG in red at the top of the screen. Once again, that Lava Hound comes out. It looks like they're playing exactly the same deck, but Kicks this time are a lot more prepared.
Having a similar one.
There is a Rage Balloon, so this is Lava Hound, Balloon, Rage. I assume there's a freeze someone there?
Great poison this time, but has to stop the push. We'll actually get a lot of damage to the air units as well. Nicely done.
Yeah, this time much better defended than last time. So now we have a game on our hands instead of the last time where it was just over far too quickly.
Not just the Infernal Dragons from OPGG, also the Mega Minions were coming its way to the tower. That was a real scary part. Finally, the golem being put down.
Yeah, with the Prince behind again, so we're going to see a little bit more of this deck. As you can see, the Prince is pushing that golem just a little bit quicker than it normally moves, but there's still a lot of defense here. The Inferno Dragon connects, the Mega Minions there, the Rage comes out.
Again, a similar push, but actually, golem. Inferno Dragon switches target.
Those pups. And suddenly, there's a lot left over here again for a push.
Not as much compared to the first game, first push. They also have lots of zaps available and bat. take care of the Infernal Dragon as well.
Bats is a good choice to put into this deck, making sure that that Inferno Dragon will drop before it gets near the before the tower. So here we have another attempt at this Lava Hound Inferno Dragon push. There is another another Lava Hound and Inferno Dragon in both players' hands. Will they be using them?
This time Golem a little bit closer to the lane. The Miner all the way on the back. We countered with the Prince again. Now the Mage drops in near. A lot better of a push with lots of skeletons as well. And Golem very healthy still, going directly to the tower now.
Yeah, but it's not going to remain healthy when there's two Inferno Dragons locked on. And it does go down. Oh, the tower is dead!
Yeah, the Prince was actually doing some damage to the tower. It goes straight down and having massive poison value as well. Again, look at this.
This is much, much better from Kix. Controlling this game now, making sure that nothing is going to finish off that tower.
Bringing the Prince very low on Elixir. But still has to stop the Miner from doing damage. 7 seconds. And a Skeleton this time. Not able to come back into a win. This Prince charging in with the Rage. But that will bring us into a tie with 1-1. Set number 2.
Yeah, much, much better there by Kix. Managed to take that game. They looked in control beginning to end. But I have to say that tower's HP got deleted from 600 plus to 0 without a spell. I think it was a mix of the Knight plus the Golem hitting at the same time, and suddenly it was there and then it was gone.
I think the Prince might have also got a charge. It was just in range to get the charge damage, and looking at the numbers, very likely.
OPGG here calling a timeout. If they can win this game number 3 here, they will take the victory over Kix, but Kix are not gonna go down easy. They're gonna make sure that they win this game 3 and take us to the ace match.
Something to note from OPGG is that, of course, not just that they have set number 1, they're off to a very nice roll. Of course, losing against Chaos Theory yesterday has been painful, but they were oftentimes, most of their matches that they lost, very close. Came down to the final one, even lots of ace matches happening.
Yeah, we also had when they played against Japan, they actually tied a 2v2 game, which is a feat in itself. It's not very often you see a tie in 2v2 because 2 players, 20 elixir each side. It's a very quick-paced kind of match. Tying that, they tied with Mikambuya and Raiki Jones. It was an insane matchup.
With 10 more elixirs, you just think it's ×2, but if you think about the synergy and the speed and how well you have to defend and attack, say it's about 4 times the normal game of how much more you have to focus, what you have to do, how much practice you have to make with your teammates. Knowing the card, understanding all 16 cards that your team has.
Yeah, if OPGG Skeleton can win this game, they'll be joint 6th, I believe. Unless I've missed something, I probably have. But they'll be tied up with Kix in the standings.
And also, I believe AHQ with the win from the first match.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I was just reading the notes that I have on this game. I would say that this 2v2 now is going to go the way of Kix. I'm going to say that, I'm going to put myself out there. I think Kix looked a lot better in game 2 than OPGG.
Well, I do think certainly with the timeout, OPGG will have some different cards and play against those golems. Game 1, it was easily defended. Way too easily defended, but with some changes from Kix coming into game 2, it was really hard to deal with those golden pushes. Lots of Prince handled with the Miner. So how do you really want to change this time? You want to bring the new ones? That will be the question for OPGG. The final game for set number 2 is coming right up.
Right, so here we are. Kicks in blue, OPGG in red. And I think OPGG will bring a different deck here. We already see the Lumberjack and a Rage there with the Golem. So they're going to bring their own Golems. What's interesting, I think OPGG have this very Korean kind of mentality where if you win with the deck in the first game, you must use it in the second game.
You don't really have to change. You risk that once again. Big time, but Kicks this time, they had their own... Ooh, that
fireball
miss!
nowhere!
That was supposed to hit at least the Flying Machine.
And it just
Only
whiffed.
the Flying Machine.
But is there enough here to defend for OPGG? Are they going to be able to capitalize on that Elixir loss?
So unless they push all the way into the second tower, the Flying Machine shouldn't matter too much. But
there's the balloon
for OPGG
and the Tesla is out of the way. It's not going to connect the balloon.
They were thinking about the same thing.
Uncontested.
This will basically be guaranteed with at least a tower down already. Damage has been done with the Flying Machine onto the right side as well. Lots of mistakes being made for Kicks. Game number 3, the most important one. They lose this, they are out, and they lose the match tonight.
It's insane. The fireball that went nowhere. The Tesla, which isn't in range of the balloon. These little mistakes are costing them dearly right now.
Zaps take most of the small units out.
Oh, look at that. Perfect zap. Double prints there. Played to make sure that they can clean up, but it's not going to matter, I think.
That Rage, they are now GG Skeleton. They are actually diving in for the 3 crown, which looks to be a little tough, but they have all the defenses. They are in a massive lead already. Oh, luckily gets charged off that Prince.
Yeah, it looks like it caught Oichan there by surprise.
Look at how happy they are on the screen. OPGG Skeleton, Chasu, and Oichan.
The Inferno Dragon is on the other side. So they're going to go all in. It looks like Kicks are going for the victory here. Unfortunately, there is an Inferno Dragon, but it is going to get enough hits to finish that tower. 2, 3. Yeah, good. Perfect. Learn to count with us here at Clash Royale. But that balloon is still alive. Got another hit onto the tower.
But another balloon from Oichan, and the secure 2 crowns already. Dropping in right again with the Lumberjack. Perfect timing for OPGG Skeleton as well. Great counter down to 1200. They may actually going for all the way. They're dropping down everything that they have at the moment.
The Rage goes in, and that is it.
Game 1. Big mistake with the fireball miss onto the Flying Machine. Really hurt them from the beginning. But also the Tesla, as you mentioned, not really the perfect positioning. You actually at least want to put it right at the center so it draws left and right together.
Yeah, 1 square more and they would have actually defended that balloon a little bit better than they did.
Yes, certainly.
And unfortunately, those little mistakes cost Kicks dearly. We saw that they had the power to go through and finish off a tower really, really quickly, actually. But those mistakes at the beginning of the game, they just couldn't come back from them. And OPGG did the right thing. They see, okay, there's a big push coming on the left side. We already have that tower. Let's go down the right side and take a 2-1 victory here.
Yeah, they were willing to trade that tower. They knew that something was coming in. Balloon, saw the Rage. Okay, we can deal with this with little cost. And we have our own balloon when the Rage dropped from the Lumberjack. Golem is already pushing. Make sure the balloon comes into that corner, the top corner when you have the tower down.
Look at how quickly that tower went down with the Mega Minion, the Lava Pop, the 2 Inferno Dragons, and that Flying Machine. Just look at it. It just deletes itself.
That was a zap from OPGG, double zap.
And in game 2, OPGG looked very shaky, to be honest. They didn't look particularly good in this game.
Poison getting massive value. Look at that Prince having 2 hits and explosion damage as well at the same time. So that looked like a burst.
Their game 3, just taking out the tower, no problems whatsoever. We did miss the balloon connecting and the placement of that Tesla, but it ultimately, that mistake cost them.
Yep, look at that, Lumberjack. Be placed onto the right side and drops down the Rage with the balloon. Second crown, and they spam everything right next to King Tower, and that's it. That's how you get free.
Yeah, at that point, you just throw everything in the kitchen sink, keeping the other team pinned against that tower.
Yeah, make sure your mom is not watching when you throw everything in the kitchen sink. At least watch the dishes. That's how you can actually get that out. But we are moving into the interview. was Uichan, I believe, yesterday.
네, 오늘의 두 번째 매치 킥스와 OPGG의 대결이었죠. 두 팀 모두 어제 대결에선 아쉽게 패배를 했기 때문에 오늘의 승리가 더욱 간절했을 것 같습니다. 패배의 아픔은 싹 잊고 오늘 멋지게 승리를 해주신 OPGG의 차슈 선수와 함께 인터뷰 나눠보도록 할게요. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
Hello.
오늘 드디어 동남아 팀을 상대로 승리하셨어요. 소감 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
네, 저희가 해외 팀 상대로 약간 안 좋은 모습을 보여주다가 이번에 이겼는데 정말 기분이 좋고 앞으로 이 기세를 이어 연승을 해나가겠습니다.
어제 첫 1대1 출전이었었는데 패배하셨어요. 더 아쉬웠을 것 같은데 팀원들과 어떤 얘기를 나누셨었나요?
제가 어제 되게 이길 수 있는 경기를 져가지고 정말 아쉬웠고 분했는데 오늘 경기도 있으니까 이제 그거에 너무 연연하지 말고 하자고 팀원들이 잘 가르쳐줬습니다.
네, 팀원들의 다독임 덕분에 오늘 되게 멋있게 승리를 하신 것 같습니다. 차슈 선수는 알아주는 골렘 마니아라고 해요. 그런데 오늘 골렘을 쓰지 않고 상대가 쓰셨어요. 상대의 골렘 어떠셨나요?
상대도 골렘 되게 좋아하는 것 같은데 저는 이제 골렘 말고 라바도 잘 쓸 수 있다는 거를 보여주고 싶었습니다.
네, 그럼 다음 경기에서는 라바로 승리하는 걸 볼 수 있는 걸까요?
골렘을 쓸 수도 있고 라바를 쓸 수도 있으니 준비해 주시길 바랍니다.
네, 되게 멋진 당찬 포부를 들었습니다. 네, 오늘 OPGG가 3크라운이 정말 많이 나왔어요. 어떤 노력의 결과일까요?
저희가 되게 약간 좀 무겁고 오늘 되게 전체적으로 1대1도 그렇고 2대1도 그렇고 무거운 덱을 쓰니까 3크라운이 잘 나온 것 같아요.
이제 다음 주 한일전 재대결이 있을 텐데 이게 자신 있으신가요?
저번에 2패를 했는데 이번에 꼭 2승을 하는 모습을 보여드리겠습니다. 자신 있습니다.
네, 이 기세를 몰아서 한일전에서도 3크라운을 볼 수 있기를 기대하겠습니다. 네, 이렇게 해서 킥스와의 대결에서 승리한 OPGG 진심으로 축하드리고요. 언제나 응원하도록 하겠습니다. 지금까지 OPGG의 그리고 MC 루다였습니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. From OPGG and of course our hostess Luda. That's off to what we had. That was the end of match number 2 between Kicks and OPGG Skeleton, but we still have one more match coming right up after this short commercial break. Welcome back to Clash Royale League Asia. We have match number 3. And this one is certainly, it will be a 30-month fight, I would say.
What makes you say that?
Chaos Theory, Sandbox, both in 8th place. Are they moving up or down? That will be the question we'll have for match number 3. Still, they have a chance to actually climb all the way up, but it's got to start now because they're down 2-4.
Yeah, let's talk about climbing up. King's Own Dragon X after week 2. 3-0, top of the Korean region. Now, 3-3. OPGG are 3-4. Everything is closing up. In the Korean region, it's all closing up together. Everyone's catching up. If Sandbox win today, they'll be 3-4, right?
Yes, 3-4, of course.
So they'll be joining
Who was actually 0 and 3 to begin with.
Yeah. So they'll be joining OPGG, possibly joining the team that finished 3-0 in the Korean region. That's crazy.
So we will actually have a huge, big of a pack in the standings instead of having some widespread. Here we have, as mentioned, Chaos Theory. After having a dominant win against OPGG Skeleton yesterday with Yugi Art, showing what his moves are with the Sparky. It's pretty awesome to see that. A Sandbox, of course, had very, very weak first 2 weeks, but after they went to another region, when they went to Japan, they went against the Southeast Asians. Right now, let's see what they can do against Chaos Theory tonight.
Sandbox have looked rejuvenated since their first win. Chaos Theory 2-4, currently in 9th. With JTV, Ray Baggers, Trainer Dexters, and Yuki Art. This is going to be, as you said, this is going to be an intense match here. I guess 9th is their new standing.
Yes, new standing with the updated results of the previous matches. I guess because the teams actually moved up. Of course, OPGG Skeleton with the win will actually escape from that 8th place tie. Has gone up, so it'll be 9th place tie instead.
Alright, so here we have Chaos Theory, and here we have now Sandbox. They look a very different team than what we saw in the first 2 weeks. After losing all their games, it looks like they sat down, went through everything, and made sure that they tightened up their preparation schedules. We have Ito, Beaver, Kani, and Shinchu, who have not lost a game, I believe. No, I think they lost once. They've lost one game to a foreign opponent. That's not a Korean team.
Actually we'll have to say, got a little bit lucky yesterday going against Brand Esports, who actually did not have everyone in terms. So Sandbox to start the match with a 0-1, 1-0 for themselves. That's why they were quite happy last night. It was one quick 2-2 with a 2-1 victory, and that was the match win for them last night. But really couldn't test them to the full strength. And tonight against Chaos Theory, will be testing onto themselves to get those great hugs. JTB, and like we do have Ray Baggis
and Shinchu in the first game. Ray Baggis for Chaos Theory and Shinchu for Sandbox. I will say, last night, even though we're saying like Sandbox had an advantage going in, I would say that Bren Esports 2v2 has been dominant so far in the scene. Like they haven't really lost that much, right?
Yeah. Except for yesterday, which they didn't even have their 2v2 player. They actually had Noam Sai, who's usually the 1v1, paired up with Trainers Dexters, so it was pretty tough. But here, Ray Baggis, last night, Yugi are bringing some amazing decks, like the Wizard. Just thinking that the opponent will maybe have a minion horde, a great way to deal against a big horde. One single fireball just wipes out everything. You can also create your own push. Another Sparky, maybe Ray Baggis we'll have something else kind of like that, but a different way.
Yeah, we've seen Ray Baggis and we've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! I think they're very different players. I don't think there's going to be much overlap in what they actually bring to the table here. And I think that Ray Baggis is a good choice against Shinchu here, who 3-2 has been doing reasonably okay.
Yep, against actually lost against Cumulus 1-2, and because he has 3-2 against, because he was supposed to go against Jai yesterday again with Brain Esports, so he has that 3-2 1v1 record, because that automatically just gives him 2 wins on his 1v1. In terms of his 2v2 and also 1v1, he has been losing all the time, quoting.
Yeah, I'm just reading that he's played 2 matches. Yesterday was a walkover. So yeah, 1 and 2 losses against Q-Mills, who plays for OGN Entus. And the bank cards, Goblin Hut and the Barrel. Not cards we see, the Barrel especially is not a card we see banned that much anymore.
Which has been rising up, which has risen up so highly due to the Rascals. And I bet we'll see a day very soon, not only 2 matches tomorrow, so into next weekend, where we will actually see a log ban.
Ooh.
A world with Rascals without the log.
It's not a world I want to live in. Without log against Rascals, you're going to have a very hard time.
So I think that we'll try to really go with the mind game, really thinking that, oh, Rascal is the new hot card right now, the hot potato that everyone seems like they want to use for everything. Even the Barrel, I think they were thinking about Rascal, and the log as well. So you have to think a little bit more, a deep, extra level. The opponent is thinking at that.
So yeah, the log bait deck, I believe most of the players switched out the Hog Rider or the Knight for the Rascals. Let me just double check the Logbait deck list, because I don't play it at all.
Logbait the Barrels, and lots of Goblin involved. And they actually, just to bait out the log, you actually throw down the Goblin Gang as well. Just, you will lose that elixir trade, of course, but just to make sure your Barrel or the Miner or anything that secures basically goes to that tower to do some more damage, so you get better elixir trade in that way by doing damage directly to the tower.
Yeah, so the bait deck, yeah, they removed the Knight and inputted the Rascals, and it still works relatively well. I mean, Rascals is such a flexible card. I think you can put it in anything. Can you think of one deck where Rascals won't work well?
Yeah, Rascal with all spells.
I think it'd still win. It's a really good card.
Really?
But I mean, you did just pull out a deck that won't win even in any arena. I think, let's think, Golem decks. Could you put Rascals in Golems? I think you can. I think you can still win with it. I did it in the challenge, and
it depends on lots of the following cards. I think you're reaching a little bit there, but with the Rascal, lots of possibility has been opened with just one new card into this competitive, and only two days in, only the second day in Korea, in terms of Korean server. Not even, it has only been 22 hours since the card actually opened.
And we've already seen it quite a few times in the professional scene. They're quick to adapt to that card. But I guess they've had it unlocked and they've been able to practice with it all
of course, we did get all the challenge, and you can just use all the gems to practice, of course. And you got your chances to practice the card a lot before the actual day that came out. As soon as it came out, they were given info beforehand that they can play on the day, which was yesterday. It just came out. So pretty new card, but in terms of competitive, I think you'll get a very good hint or very good clues to how you can actually form your cards around Rascal.
So will we see the rise of the Rascals, or will they fall? We're about to get into this 1v1 between Ray Baggis for Chaos Theory and Shinchu for Sandbox.
Not just like the video. I wish someone actually like throws something like a small stone at the actual neon sign on OGN, and then have the exact same sound.
It's not a stone. It says the thing hits, a screw falls out.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What's the one hitting it?
It's the what is it? The Asia thing that comes up. I think the wire pulls and it knocks a screw out. I think that's supposed to be it. But the miner is going to work down here while I explain the videos to G-Clef. Elixir Collector for Ray Bagus as well. Very interesting. Does get fireballed, reducing the effectiveness of that Elixir Collector.
Still getting the 3 Musketeers in play.
Looks like Shinchu was prepared for
Yeah,
that.
Shinchu
He's
just
nodding
knocks his head, saying, that's what I thought.
Does get poisoned down. There's a Royal Ghost and a Bandit on the other side. Now you have a decision to make.
It's a super charging index from Ray Bagus. We do see it oftentimes with the Hog Rider as well.
Yeah. Pekka just tanks the last Musketeer there. Finishes in one shot. Does get pulled by this Ice Golem, so it's not going to
pull
connect
for
to the
days
tower.
and days. Miner is here, and Princess actually locks onto the Pekka. So Goblin Gang has to be put down.
Slight advantage. Like, both of these are actually very even now. The Royal Ghost just making light work, and they just walk right past each other.
See you later, Ghost.
But good Bandit placement does mean that the Royal Ghost turns around.
And actually dashes into Luxury Wizard. So Ray Bagus will get a few direct hits onto the tower.
2, I think. Yeah, 2 hits. Where Shinchu is slightly down here, 1,322 HP to 1,806. There is that Elixir Collector, and it does get poisoned, so that means we're probably going to see the 3 Musketeers get dropped down very, very soon. Miner comes in onto that left-hand side.
Yeah, the reason why we see poison for that Elixir Collector instead of the Fireball, it was because of the 3 Musketeers, but having them poised at all 3 of them behind the Crown King Tower, you can't really Fireball, you activate the King Tower.
Yeah, so we see the Pekka here making light work of everything that Ray Bagus had on that right-hand side. Will it be able to connect to the tower? There's the 3 Musketeers. Pekka goes down, but that Miner connects. Poison is connected, going down to about 1,360. Maybe a little bit more. The lock comes in as well, 1,250. Evening the score a little bit here.
No dashes from Bandit yet, but almost got the dash. Princess will take it out. But Goblin's actually doing some damage.
Yeah. They did so much work, but not enough. Will Shinchu be able to finish? I think he has 1 push left in him.
Coming down to the last 180. Ooh, he has Shinchu. Ray Bagus is switching sides, actually going to the left side with the 2.
Yes. You want to draw the spells in defense onto that left-hand side while you push down that right. But it doesn't look like he's even going for that. He puts the Bandit down there.
Everything to the right side. Let's see the targeting onto the Pekka. Oh, Rogue Ghost taken out, but from the Pekka and Luxury Wizard doing the same amount of job. Even better.
Now, how will this push work out? The Miner drops down at the back. Electro Wizard and Royal Ghost are preoccupied. In comes a Fireball. What? 665. Taking a little bit of an advantage here, but he needs to defend on both sides. He doesn't have anything.
Let's see on the left side, Luxury Wizard does come down. We'll get
but the Bandit connects. And it's down.
It with the dash. That's why you have to be careful. He had to defend both sides, which was a tough task to do without the Elixir Collector for himself.
Yeah, he only had 6 Elixir when all of that was going down, and he decides to throw it on the left-hand side, but the Bandit on the right was just a little bit quicker, a bit more powerful than the regen of the Elixir for Shinchu, so he couldn't defend it.
Shinchu, he threw down lots of spells to almost bring the 2 Musketeer to the side down, also hitting the tower. But also the reason why Ray Bagus actually had the 2 Musketeer to the left was because he wanted to defend the right side tower, make sure the Fireball goes to the left side instead. So at least he doesn't get too much value out of the Fireball hitting 2 Musketeer and the tower that's very low. Seems like unlikely situation for yourself. So great adjustments, just understanding how to play that 3 Musketeer deck.
Do you think Shinchu should have pulled the barrel, like pulled the trigger on the other side at that point when those 3 Musketeers went down? Should he have just gone all in on that right side? Would you have gone all in on that right side if you were the Musket? If you were?
I don't think so. I think Shinchu was trying to defend it in a way because Rebagas, what he was lacking was the damage from spells. He didn't have really too much spells to do damage. When Shinchu actually had poison and the fireball, so over time with some chip damage from poison and fireball, he could just directly do the damage with the spell. I think that was possible with the time that he had. But his defense was not too perfect, and game 2. You're going in as Rebagas is in the lead, 1-0. Let's get into game 2.
Alright, so we have Chaos Theory, Rebagas in blue at the bottom. We have Shinchu for Sandbox in red at the top. Spear Goblins will get taken out by the tower as that Ice Golem slowly walks his way forward. Rascals coming out for Shinchu. We get to see them once again. The Goblin Gang splits very nicely.
Yeah, maybe the same for Rebagas, I was going to say. Because after seeing all the Goblins, maybe the same exact deck of what we saw in match number 2.
Of course, the Rascal Girls do trade very evenly with each other because they are exactly the same card.
Oh, look at that Tesla placed right before. And look at that predicted log.
The log taking out that Ice Spirit as he dropped it. Big mistake by Shinchu. Should have waited just a fraction of a second more.
And it's going to be the Expo. And exactly what I was feeling. I tried this one in the morning. Didn't really work for me, but let's see how Shinchu can pull this one out. With the Rascals tanking all the way. Expo now locking into the tower, will do damage.
Yeah, and those Rascals are doing work on the defense. This Expo is uncontested. So much damage being laid down. 1,326 remaining for Rebagas' left bottom tower.
Now he has a lot more choices, Shinchu. He does have the cycle against the Hog Rider. Last time the Tesla didn't really connect. Well, did connect with the damage, but Hog Rider didn't go to the Tesla tower. He does have the cycle. Both players holding that Hog and the Tesla. So it could be countered in big time. And let's see how he wants to do it. The Tesla comes.
Tesla, unfortunately, locks on to the Hog Rider. Kind of wanting to get rid of those Spear Goblins
first.
We'll get
a few hits to the tower, though. At least a few hundreds.
So looking at it here, the Rascals once again replace the role of the Prince, I believe, in this deck, because it is the low cycle Expo deck that we do see a lot. So the last cards are probably Fireball and maybe Archers, I think, is the other one that we use.
They actually replaced Archer as well because of the girls actually pushing damage from behind.
So what could that other card be, do you think?
Few spells most of the time, just Fireball. Now defensive Expo, as he has switched off to a different cycle. Because he had to drop down that Tesla before. Make sure the Hog Rider does not go directly to the tower. And also goes against that Mortal, what Rebagas has.
Yeah, down to 522 damage right now. And the Expo, defensive Expo is such a good tool to use, but he drops down the offensive tool. Hog Rider comes in. There's the minion horde. Does he have anything to take out the minion? There's the Fireball. So what is that
Massive
last card?
value, and this will just finish the game. And with the log very close, it will just need one more hit onto that tower. 22 left.
Yeah, anything will work there. Absolutely anything.
Cycle everything out. Make sure you have some defense.
This is Rebagas' last chance.
We'll have
here.
the log very soon. Pekka will be the final card from Shinchu, but he will have the log available. Even the Fireball very soon coming. Rebagas knows his destiny will be over very soon.
Interesting that he dropped down the Expo there. I think he wanted to finish it, but ending it there with the Fireball. It's interesting to see how the Rascals fits into these decks that we know from previous weeks and what cards are being dropped for them. So that deck, that cycle deck there, drops the Prince, drops the Knight, and drops the Archers and replaces it with Rascals and a P.E.K.K.A.
It was certainly a different one. And oftentimes we do see Archers. And in terms of this deck, instead of the Knight, he actually had the Ice Golem as well. So Rascals did work in pretty handy for himself to defend as well against Tomorrow. This was actually a very good deck. Expo having massive value, especially with the Tesla. As long as the Tesla was around that Expo, Shinchu started to get some value over time. And Expo, of course, one of the strongest cards for Korean players. He's been loving to play that all the weekends. Has been popping out at least once or twice for Korean players.
So I'm just taking a quick look at this deck myself. Drop in there. There was no Zap, right? Ice Golem was there instead of Zap as well. Yeah, interesting deck. 3.9 average elixir cost. Very powerful. I would say he controlled the game, the pace of the game very, very well. And the Expo definitely helped.
Yeah, it's 3.9, but when you basically never use that P.E.K.K.A, it drops down a lot more. Because he was only dropping down the P.E.K.K.A to for the last bit of the game, just to delay a little bit. Because once he basically knew it was mostly in use for the defensive use, just to make sure that if anything like the Hog Rider comes directly, you can have some massive damage onto a single unit. He was holding that the entire game. He wasn't even planning on dropping it. Once he knew that he had secured the game, then it was dropped. Without the P.E.K.K.A, I believe it almost drops down to 3.4-ish.
Maybe even lower than that. I'm just going to substitute that. 3.1.
With a skeleton.
With a skeleton in its place. So let's say 3 elixir. That is a
quick cycle deck.
Very quick cycle.
And does have Rascal as well. So that's maybe something new. The meta is really shifting along with the Rascals. It was even banned last night. I believe Yu-Gi-Oh! Was actually the one from Chaos Theory to ban out that Rascal card.
An interesting ban, I would say. At this point, does it warrant a ban? I would say yes. I think it should be banned. It is quite a powerful card.
But this time it is not banned. And Goblin Hunt Barrel banned from both sides, and they had their time with the timeout to talk to their teammates going into the final game of set 1. Will come on top after dealing with a few Rascals, Expo Mortal from both sides.
The very strong building decks, the offensive building decks, I would say, with the Mortar and the Expo. But let's see what Game 3 has in store as Ray Baggers takes on Shinchu. So Ray Baggers in blue for Chaos Theory, Shinchu in red for Sandbox. What are we going to see here? More Rascals? Maybe?
I think they might just have moved on to a very heavy beatdown decks, because we did see some light rotations, light cycles from both players. May have been thinking, if they actually keep the same one, if I bring a beatdown that I can certainly push all the way. I think that's why we are maybe waiting for that 1 minute mark.
So yeah, I would say we're going to have Golem versus Lava Hound is a very interesting matchup.
Of course, if this happens in your regular games, in your ladder games, just to make sure your opponent is actually in game, you do want to throw some units and test him. Like throw in Goblin Spear, and then if it's uncontested at all, and then you start throwing a few units. And then if he's not there, you just push all the way. But
both players here testing that theory with a zap. And the player responded in kind by throwing the zap as well.
Yeah. Great sportsmanship.
Yeah. You zap me, I zap you, but let's not go crazy. Let's wait for this minute mark and then push out. Let's just wait for that.
To have the trophy drop down from the right side.
It is not a fish out of a sewer pipe, G-Clef.
Who says fish?
You thought it was a fish.
No.
Am I misremembering last week?
It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? See, then it happened. But here we got 10 seconds left.
It's
this is usually
trophy-looking fish.
It is
golden
a trophy-looking fish.
I do like goldfish.
This is usually where we see the game start to kick in, about 5 or 6 seconds before that double elixir mark. And it is the Golem versus the Lava Hound. Which one is going to win?
They're both expecting. Oh, Balloon placed right behind
Mini
Lava. Let's see the
P.E.K.K.A.,
speed.
Night Witch. This is looking bad for Shinchu. He needs to put something on the defense here. Otherwise, that is going to ruin him. He doesn't have what it takes to push through. Balloon connects once. Balloon is going to connect twice. The Balloon is going to connect 3 times. The death damage plus the Lava Hound is going to take care of that tower. He hasn't even scratched the tower. And that is it. 20 seconds left
on the clock. Rayback is already in massive favor by having that tower. Mini-P.E.K.K.A. was delayed so much by that tombstone, by the skeletons. Rayback has already left his fingers off the device. 10 seconds on the clock. Shinchu knows that this game is over. He can't really make this push. 5 seconds. Mini-P.E.K.K.A. can really do it, but there's a tombstone once again for the defense. Even the guards, there is no way of bringing this game back. And Rayback will take the win for his team in set number 1.
Yeah, Shinchu's push there, a little bit less powerful than the Lava Hound Balloon.
But we could see what Shinchu had in his hand. Other than the fireball, he couldn't really stop the Lava Hound Balloon push. It's really tough for him to go anti-air with those cards.
But could he have fireballed that tombstone a little earlier? I think he could have, but
even with that, he had the guards. So lots of small units to delay and to damage Golem as well. And it's a big big spell to be spent when you actually want units to push in as well. So Mini-P.E.K.K.A. right there didn't really help too much. Maybe with the Dark Prince, I think it was a lot better of a push. Even speeding up the Golem, I think that's what he needed at the moment.
Yeah, very interesting. I love watching the Golems versus Lava Hounds. It's a very interesting matchup because it can go any way. It depends on what is built behind it. But the Lava Loon is just so strong. You see the Expos here constantly connecting onto those towers. There we go again, connects to so much work. And that's what you want when you play an Expo deck. You want these little bursts of tower damage. You don't always have to have the whole duration on the tower. But you want some use of that Expo onto the tower.
I love the games where you just finish off with a spell. You basically know already you won the game. Then you just, and then you win.
I play beatdown decks, so I never really do that much, but I like putting my Golem down when the tower has like 100 HP left and it's like, stop it before it gets near. And usually they can't. They can't do it. But we are going into our 2v2 game now. We have Trainer Dexters, and it looks to be JTV for Chaos Theory. And for Sandbox, it looks like Ido and Kani, but I'm going to wait for confirmation. JTV?
The usual duo. They played together for so many games. Against Kicks, against Brain Esports, Game with OPGG Skeleton as well. Not really having the best score. Of course, they do have their team having the record of 2-4. 9th place, but very likely to move up after that first set win with Raybagus going against Shinchu. But on the other side, a little bit uncommon 2v2, I will say. It's just going to come up right up.
Yeah, Ido and Kani, I don't believe they've played much 2v2 together. Have they played at all?
Yes, they did. 3 times. Games actually having a better... Not a better one, I would say.
Very equal. 3 wins, 5 losses.
1-2, 1-2, and a 2-1.
It's going to be interesting because both these teams are very evenly matched in standings in terms of how they've played against their opponents as well. So we saw Shinchu lose that first game, the first set. I would say that Raybagus is a little bit better than Shinchu. In terms of 2v2, I think Ido and Kani are a little bit better than Trainer Dexters and JTV. Just a little bit. Slightly better. But the ban cards are coming out. I'm going to say Tornado already. And there's a Poison as well.
Kind of like what we had in match number 1 between AHQ Esports Club and Kings on Dragon X. They were also banning Poison and Dragon for 2v2. comes along to the same time with match number 3 here. So without those 2 spells, we saw lots of the other ones. Basically everything that we can think of. Rocket has been having some massive values.
Yeah, but getting value with the Rocket is actually quite difficult. Because it has such a small radius, you always want to try and hit something else other than a tower with the Rocket to make it valuable. Because otherwise you're losing 6 elixir in the defensive trade.
Best one, of course, will be the hitting the tower as well with the Rocket. 400 plus damage. And taking out the unit at the same time.
No tornado, no poison means you can't really pull them together. We don't usually see an executioner in 2v2 without the tornado. We do see it, but it's so much better with that tornado. Are we going to say Golem decks here? I think that's a fair shout. Golem, Lava Hound, Balloon. Charge deck? Could be possible.
We did see some creative defense from Sandbox. Not from Sandbox, my mistake there, but yesterday against the Golem, Bomb Tower. I believe a few other ones are also available. Inferno Tower as well. Great one to defend against the Lava Hound.
Yeah.
There are lots of ways they can actually change the structure depending on how you want to form your other units. Inferno Tower instead of an Inferno Dragon could be an answer.
Inferno Tower has that added benefit that it pulls the unit away from your tower, whereas the Inferno Dragon doesn't do that when it comes to Golems or Lava Hounds, or Balloons for that matter. So there we can see, when they've banned the Tornado, they've won 2 and lost 6.
There's Yugi Art. Just making sure both of them has a Sparky going into the 2v2.
I hope so, because double Sparky in 2v2, it's electrifying.
Are we sure? Are we totally sure that we want double the Sparky and the clone? Make that 4 Sparky.
It's not as effective as the spawner units, but it's still really cool.
That's like an army of Sparky.
Sparky
deleting
army.
all the units.
Imagine 2 Sparkies cloned with Zappies too. All the electricity and an Electro Wizard thrown in for good measure.
And then the lights will go out. We'll have no lights for the Clash Royale Asia sign.
Suddenly everything goes dark.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to see it. I know it's not a winning strategy, but it's one of those things that I'd like to see just for the lols.
Yeah, which we did not see in our 2v2 yet to be played. We did see from Yugi Art yesterday. That's why we were mentioning about the Sparky 1v1. It's still a possibility for 2v2. I think because it's very slow. It does a lot of damage, slow in attack speed and also in movement speed. That's why it has been not played. Can be countered with lots of spells.
But it is a great defensive card against Golems.
Certainly. I think Giant Skeleton as well, in a similar way, doing that burst damage explosion.
Alright, so we are getting into the 2v2 between Chaos Theory and Sandbox. Let's get into it.
Here we go. Chaos Theory, of course, on the left blue, and they do have the Lava Hound instead.
Both teams carrying the clone as well, so it looks like we're going to see a lot of clone hijinks once again. And it looks like Chaos Theory here are going to be playing the same deck we saw earlier, where the Lava Hound...
They have the Skeleton Barrel as well. That's the real thing.
The bats are there. There's another Inferno Dragon.
Early Rage.
There's the Night Witch
the Lumberjack going down already, speeding up the Golem, but not perfectly.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sandbox have done a good job of making sure that clone isn't as useful as it probably is. But look how many units are being spawned there. So many units with that Night Witch being cloned. Not the most useful of clones, though. Nothing gets through to the tower. A couple of skeletons, maybe.
does a ton of damage for Chaos Theory. Does about 1,000. Another clone onto that Lava Hound. Executioner in this case would be pretty good taking out the Lava Hound, and also a lot of pubs right after.
It was interesting. I was saying we don't usually see much Executioner, but I think in terms of these clone decks, Executioner is a great answer. He does so much work against the clones.
They're ready for their own clone, I believe. Sandbox is getting ready with the Executioner, with the Golem. There it is.
Double Executioner, double Golem, double Golemites. This is going to be a very powerful push. Gets 1 or 2 hits, does try to fireball the Executioner, doesn't really take that much damage, and that tower is going down.
Yeah, actually, Executioner not doing the damage to the tower, only to the dragon, so it's a good news for Chaos Theory. Look at that trade, about 250 HP lead for Sandbox.
Yeah, they are holding that. We can see that Sandbox are holding their clones, so are Chaos Theory. So, we got to be ready. Chaos Theory want double Lava Hound, Skeleton Barrel, maybe with the Night Witch there too, and clone all of that, and suddenly there's a lot of units being used.
Oh, look at that clone onto the Lumberjack as well. The Rage will drop and go straight in. Golem already diving in, but there's double Tombstone. It's really hard. There's a second Rage for the actual Lumberjack.
Yeah, it seems the answer to this clone kind of gameplay is just
2v2.
pressure your opponent.
Seems like it's almost done. Chaos Theory, they basically wasted their Lumberjack going in. And so in terms of the push, Sandbox has been keeping up with the clone, just having massive units. This may actually be 3 crowns if not dealt with. They can't really do too much right now.
Yeah, the Night Witch does pop there, dropping down a few more bats. But again, using double clone. So many bats are being spawned with 3 Night Witches on the field. And it's over. Wow.
So certainly right with the clone. And that's what they do against their Inferno. Because I've been saying that because we have so many Infernal Dragon to basically counter the Golem all the time, I'm saying that we're going to see lots of the smaller ones like the Minion Horde and the Bats and the Goblin Gang or even the Guards. And they make it work with the clone even better. How do you really stop it? Do you end up using the Zap on it?
Executioner. We saw in that game that Executioner is a very good answer to that strategy. Think about it. If you summon a Lava Hound, you clone the Lava Hound. The axe goes through, pops it, all the pups come out, the axe comes back, they all die. You know what I mean? The Executioner, suddenly, you know, you have your Night Witch, you clone the Night Witch, all these bats are coming. Goes through, kills the Night Witch, bats summon, comes back, bats are dead. Executioner is the answer to this clone play. Even though I said when we saw the Tornado Ban we wouldn't see it, I've seen the light. It's all making sense now. Executioner is great against these clones.
Yes, when you think about the clones, you're certainly on the point there. Even without the Tornado, getting some massive value, it was on the perfect deck counter choice. Against the Lava Hound, against the pubs, I'll take Tornado any day. Not Tornado, Executioner. That's what we saw with Tornado and Poison being banned. Lots of clones. I think that's the reason why we can actually force all the spells to be used from the opposite side as well. So do you really do massive damage onto the clones, or do you do small damage with the Zap? That's the real problem. We are ready. This may be a game where Sandbox comes back. We may have an ace match if they take another one, but Chaos Theory still having the chance to come back and take the set, end the match. Let's get into game 2.
All right, so the big question here is, are we going to get Attack of the Clones Part 2? And it does look like we are, as Chaos Theory are holding that clone spell.
But a different one from Sandbox. Double that giant skeleton.
Yeah, but they're smart to bring the Executioner once more. And the Executioner really does shut down that clone play.
And also the explosion damage should take out most of the clones as well. And they want to land on their damage with the rocket and the miner. That will be their finishing card for the Sandbox.
Yeah.
Let's see how well they can actually defend against the clones that will be coming from Chaos Theory. Just testing the waters right now.
Yeah, we've seen this deck before where we have double giant skeleton clone defense, and it works so well, and we're going to start to see it come into play here. The giant skeleton is on the floor, does clone it. This means that when it pops 1,000 damage plus on those units, down goes literally everything.
But still did somewhat of damage to the second one. Going directly to the tower though. Also gets this clone.
Yeah, that's going to clear up the units, but unfortunately their guards, those shields, do definitely work.
Well, Chaos Theory, they're dropping down everything to block the skeleton, and it is going to in range.
Is it in range or is it just out?
Yes,
it is in range.
Will do damage enough with the, even with the Infernal Dragon and the Miner landing on the hit. Oh, the rage dropping down from Chaos Theory. They are lost. And they might have just lost the game because of those mistakes. They were low on elixirs. They put out too much on their offense.
For Chaos Theory now, it's time to reset. Don't worry about losing your tower. Just go. They have to go all in, basically. They have no choice but to go all in. Because if they don't go all in, they're going to lose. So they have to pull the trigger here, but they are trying to defend. Double Lava Hound here. We're going to see the balloon behind, the bats, the clone spells coming for everyone. They held on so long for that clone spell, but in comes the zaps, in comes the Executioner, deals with it very easily.
Who actually misses that Princess as well onto the back. So I don't think they can actually do as much damage on this one.
No, so Chaos Theory now have less than 30 seconds to try and bring this one back. They have 1,152 damage to just stay in the game, let alone win.
But the best defense is best defense is by attacking here as Sandbox keeps their way in all the way to the Green Tower, and with the explosion damage, they will get all the way to the King Tower and secure their victory. We're moving on to the ace match.
Manhandled, I would say there. It seems like Sandbox really are coming into this tournament now. After week 1 and 2, they looked weak, they looked pretty bad. They lost the first game in Japan. They win the second game in Japan, and suddenly that has kick-started their run. They haven't lost since then. Admittedly, yesterday against Bren Esports, it felt a little bit of a technicality, but beating Bren Esports in 2v2, even though No Aim Sai is not a 2v2 player, it's still a good result. And they showed here that their 2v2 play is really good. But how are they going to be able to do the 1v1? How are they going to be able to win this ace match?
They will have to test once again and see if Connie makes an appearance. And may just be Ray Baggers once again from Chaos Theory. Let's take a look at the highlight of match 3 set 2.
Yeah, we can see that the execution did so much work on the defense. There's the clones.
Look at how many units. And even with the arrow, it's not enough for the golem to be brought down. Golmite would connect and follow up with a lot of those switches following up.
Yeah, making sure that Lumberjack is cloned is really smart, because as the clone drops, he drops his rage, and then the bigger one drops, he drops his rage. Suddenly you have 2, and you have a highway to their tower.
It's really hard to secure the giant skeleton, go nearby that tower. It's very slow, will get dragged by everything in the way. But once you can take everything down, and if you can clone them as well, that's how you bring a win for yourself. And even after the explosion damage, they had another giant skeleton on it. So on a massive lead, Sandbox taking a solid win against Chaos Theory here as we are moving into the ace match very soon. Who do you think we're going to see?
Maybe Ito? I think Ito or Connie. I don't think we'll see Shinchu, because he's a great player, but he didn't play very well today. So I think I'm going to say Ito. Who do you think?
I do think it's going to be Connie, because he holds lots of experience, even starting from the very beginning history of Clash Royale in Korea. He's known as Bakani, a very popular YouTuber as well in Korea, and holding lots of tournament experiences 1v1. Of course, back then 2v2 was only for event, event matches most likely. I think we're likely to see Connie instead because of all the experience that he has, and even maybe he'll get to show us what Rascals kind of taste like in his own deck. We've seen lots about Rascals in Expo with the barrel. Now with even all the dashing, the charging decks, so Rascals coming into every single deck almost. I think we can put some more creativity in with the Rascal, and maybe Connie will bring something else to the table.
You mentioned Connie's experience, but Ito also has experience. He did play in CCGS Korea last year.
Yes.
Didn't perform particularly well, though. Connie didn't make it, though. But Connie won the Clash Royale tournament that was
right
the
before.
pop-up event before.
Right before, and lots of smaller tournament as well as, I believe, one of the university tournament as well that happened early 2017. And that's why I believe Connie will appear, very likely. Chaos Theory, Ray Bagus, I think he can just continue his way in. I think big story tonight. And we'll be continuing on unless there's a big balance update. Rascal, how effective can you actually use that card in 1v1? I think we're ready to reveal who our ace match player will be from both teams very soon. I think that's what I got.
I just heard they're about to do it, and I wanted to start a drum roll, but I don't want to know how. It'll go on forever. Like we're sitting here.
We're moving in.
We're gonna see. And look, this drum roll would last a million years.
It depends on the Korean casters how long they want to drag it out. We're always piggybacking.
Ito versus Trainer Dexter's.
Trainer Dexter's actually most played with the 2v2. But tonight he will be playing once again for 1v1.
16 games of 2v2.
Yes,
everything. 4 wins and 12 losses.
Everything.
3 wins and 4 losses when it comes to 1v1. Very, very heavy stats there. Heavy losses, I would say, in 2v2. But his 1v1 looks and seems pretty strong.
Fantastic result.
And we're going to have Ito up on the screen in a second, and we're going to see his 1v1 stats. And they are, when they appear on the screen, 2 losses in 1v1, 6 wins and 7 losses in 2v2.
That's something else that we didn't really think about. So Ito has having a lot of experience, but not in 1v1 competitive games, which means we were also having interviews yesterday that opponents not really revealing lots of information because the specific player did not play in 1v1 before, or only a few games in, and he only played twice. He lost both times. How many different decks he can actually show in competitive? 2 at the most.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ito lost an ace match before, if I'm not mistaken. That's why he's 2 losses. Come in 1v1, he is their ace match, and we see Elixir Collector banned, and we see the Balloon banned. Elixir Collector very targeted because Ito does like those heavy decks. Balloon, all around a solid ban. It kind of removes Lava Hound out of the game a little bit, because Lava Hound Balloon is the ultimate combo, but we might see something like Lava Hound Rascal, and suddenly the tower just disintegrates.
Looks like Collector guarantees that let's just take out a lot of the heavy ones, 3 Musketeers, Golem, even maybe the P.E.K.K.A.
We have actually seen a decent amount of 3 Musketeers coming down without the Collectors.
Yes, we did. At least more than a couple of games. But it was very slow in terms of rotation. And once you fall behind with them getting fireballed into their face, it's been hurting them a lot. So I think we may actually see something else.
Yeah, I think it was the October 2017 balance update which changed the amount of HP that an Elixir Collector has. And since then, Elixir Collector has dropped in usage. It's not in as many decks as it used to be.
I think in coming balance update we'll see lots of changes. Maybe with the Golem as well, because Golem has been such a powerful card.
Please no. That's my card.
Yes.
Don't. He's only saying that because he is salty that he lost 4 games in a row before we started today.
Yes, because you were having some tough moments.
Even when he tricked me into using Elite Barbarians, He was like, "Oh, I just want to see how elite barbarians and rascals, like, how they trade." And then he's just like,
and Rascal's
surprise, it's an Expo deck!
Rascal's won, of course, with the help of the Princess Tower also. But without the Princess Tower, I think they almost...
They traded considerably. It depends on how the guards connect. If they connect to the boy, I think the girls live with like a little slither of HP.
Maybe.
But if they connect on the girls first, then it's over.
So Trainer Dexter's, he has been banning lots of the Three Musketeer, even the Hunter ban.
Yeah, Hunter ban is interesting. I think that opens the door to a P.E.K.K.A, a Golem. Because Hunter is very, very good against those kind of units where the splash damage doesn't make much of a difference. It's always going to, every pellet out of his shotgun is going to hit everything.
Those spans, they do have all the spell as well. The Tornado, Poison, Fireball, Rocket. You name it. Every single spell out there is available. Sometimes what we used to do a lot with the Tornado before the nerf is actually to bring, when you want to split the Three Musketeer, you actually use a Tornado right after and bring the other one back to one side, so you can get great value with a Fireball or Poison or anything like that. Really disrupting what the opponent is thinking or their plan is with the Three Musketeer, with that single Tornado. Of course, a lot harder with -5 seconds on the clock.
Just about to get into this 1v1. The players leave their teammates in that solo section.
Wishing the best luck as the final ace match would determine the winner to advance from the 9th place. So these teams will be rising up a little bit higher in the standings. Will still be in the 2nd page, but will be a start of the weekend.
A good start to the weekend if they can win here. And it will almost tie everyone up in the Korean region if they win. Actually, I think they will all be tied if Sandbox can win now.
Let's see. We are ready to jump in the game. Trainers Dexter's from Chaos Theory. And Ida from Game Sandbox. Game number 1.
So, Trainer Dexter's in blue for Chaos Theory at the bottom of the screen. We have Ido in red at the top of the screen. And once again, it's one win for each country. Will Korea take a 2-1 victory overall today? Or will SEA take their 2-1 victory today?
That will actually tie us up, combining with the result of day number 1. And oh, look at those emotes. I love emotes.
Looks like we're going to go down to that 1-minute double elixir time, but we are waiting for the first player to pull the trigger here.
I wish I get those emotes as stickers and I just stick it everywhere around my house.
I have some. Actually.
Give it to me later.
No.
Okay.
I'll keep them for myself. Thank you very much.
I'll go to eBay and buy some myself. It's okay.
I think I got
$2 stickers with $35 shipping cost. Yes. Anytime.
You eBay clearly too much. There's the bad blade at the back. Now, this won't necessarily trigger a reaction from Ido because the towers can easily take care of them. There we go. We see not even a single scratch on those towers, which to me...
But they used more arrows.
They're not... This isn't other games where, like, you know, towers had limited ammo. Towers here have unlimited ammos because what you don't see is underneath those towers, there's nothing inside but arrows.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. The towers are just filled with arrows. There's no stairs. The princesses are just airlifted on top. And there's just piles and piles of arrows underneath. True story, bro. True story.
Didn't know about that. But then why do they explode?
Because the arrows are explosive.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, that's why Princess shoots the arrows with fire. That's why. Now I understand.
She takes the towers as she walks past the towers. She puts her hand in.
Even the P.E.K.K.A. I was about to mention about P.E.K.K.A. being
Sparky.
Here goes Sparky from Ido. A Sparky.
I told you, Sparky is so good in these kind of decks.
Let's see how well Sparky will be against This type of push, Giant going straight in though. So we'll only be hitting onto the Giant. It's gone already. Sparky, let's see the push. Giant already
now
on the
going to
left
go
side again.
for that one golem. That's not what you want, but it's going to go for the P.E.K.K.A.
Oh, deleted it right after.
Oh, there's the zap there though. The zap reset it. Otherwise, that Dark Prince
Magic
and
Archer
P.E.K.K.A. would
as
have
well.
died.
It's a great defense, but Giant actually does a ton of damage along with the small goblins onto the left tower. So Sparky once again. But the real push is happening onto the left side, and Ito can only focus onto the right instead.
Yeah, but that Archer needs to find that angle where he can hit the tower. He does aim at the Giant, so does the Sparky. Double Magic Archer. The Archer connects onto the tower.
Oh, look at the massive value onto the fireball. The
P.E.K.K.A.
Sparky
goes
does
down.
survive though, so P.E.K.K.A. goes down. But that was great how Golem actually dragged the P.E.K.K.A. back to the tower, so the Sparky got a hit onto the Giant instead. I'm sure that was not intended by Trainer Dexter's.
But sometimes you need a little bit of luck in these kind of games, and that was definitely one of them. There's the Dark Prince coming out. The Mega Minion is not going to go for the tower, but
Sparky!
Ito switches up. He goes to the left-hand side. Leaving that right side revealed, Magic Archer will make work of that Giant. Just get Fireball for his inconvenience.
He wants to have that Fireball away from the tower that's lower in HP.
Now, will that Giant connect? Will this Sparky connect? I'm going to say the Sparky will not connect.
Yeah,
there's the zap.
And Dark Prince does have the shield available, so we'll take the zap. We'll take the huge zap from Sparky. Once again, another Sparky, but takes some time, so Log, a great way to delay for Sparky to have time. Onto single Goblin, delete it.
Yeah, well, even like, Sparky gets so much value if it gets one
Look
shot
at that
like
against the bats, so weak.
Yeah, that's because he can't shoot up. You know what else is weak against bats? Golems. You're going to say golems are weak? I don't think so. But we can see that the bottom right-hand tower actually, for Trainer Dexter's, is getting very beat up due to these fire spirits that keep coming in.
And landing on the Sparky just in time, so it gets the Giant as well.
Yeah, that log from Ito was to make sure that the Dark Prince doesn't have his shield when Sparky goes to attack.
Goblin Gang actually did a ton of damage, even with the Magic Archer, only hitting one at a time.
See, Sparky instantly deletes. Sparky is gonna
but the real damage is onto the right side.
Yeah, we can see the Magic Archer there. Got 3, maybe 4 arrows against that tower, down to 944. He's gonna take out those Golem. There we go. Golem down one side, Sparky down another. Where do you defend? Clearly is going for the right side.
Of course, the right side down to 944. Magic Archer
misplaced there. He could have got all those hits onto the tower. Now he's going to
get the massive value with the guards down to 550, and he does have the log to finish up.
305.
Low enough, and the fireball will finish. So close, 20 left. But the real push is coming with the dash, the charging in. Slowly, but he does have the cycle. Let's see how quickly he can actually make the push. Even the P.E.K.K.A., the guards has to be down. Giant now landing on a few hits, but the long is there, and that's going to finish.
There was a bit of a premature celebration there by Ito. 20 HP left. You were celebrating too. You thought he finished it off. 20 HP left. And that almost cost him the game. That P.E.K.K.A. was so close to getting that last hit. That would have been very unfortunate there for Ito. And he knows it. Look at him. He's smiling. He's like, oh, that was a bit closer than I thought it was.
I'll be off the ladder for the next few days because of those Sparkies.
Sparky is so good. I've been telling you over and over.
Yes.
Sparky is the answer to Golem decks, and we're seeing it here. Admittedly, it was a Giant deck, but it is the answer to everything.
Very slow, Giant and the P.E.K.K.A. Even the Dark Prince, even without the shield, of course, will be deleted.
Yeah, and Ito always made sure that the shield on that Dark Prince was deleted. He logged it to get rid of it. He made sure that the guards would take off the shield. Every time that Sparky was charged up near that Dark Prince, he would take the shield off. Great play.
Seen some amazing card combinations, and not just from yesterday, starting from last weekend especially, we saw some surprising cards, surprising decks that we basically never saw before. They oftentimes bring the win because you catch the opponent off guard. because if you end up going against a very new one, you don't really know what to do with your own card to defend against a new strategy that you have never experienced before.
Imagine how much worse it would have been for Trainer Dexter's if he didn't have Zap. It would have been a disaster. Yeah. But we are about to get into game 2 between Trainer Dexter for Chaos Theory and Ito for Sandbox.
Buckle up, guys, as this may be another wild ride from Ito. Never mind.
Does change
with the
his
Goblin
deck,
Hut. But this will actually finish the entire match. He brings the win again. Is that the lead with 1-0?
Spear Goblin there. Does lock the Hut. Not quite finishing it before that last Goblin pops out, but it doesn't really matter.
Goblin Hut with Rascals does work totally fine, and I think Dexter's is actually the one with the Rascals.
I'm very interested as to why we've seen a lot of Mortar today from the SEA region.
To counter, yes, he does have... Oh, but Tornado was also available, activating King Tower already. Only 40 seconds in. Go 50.
So what were you saying? The Mortar is to counter, I guess,
counter the Rascals too, because the rock flies slowly enough to actually do damage to the girls right behind.
So it targets the boy and hits the girls. Is what you're trying
At
to
the
say.
same time, it takes the girl in one hit.
But I feel like Mortar is such a heavy commitment.
It's only 4.
To that.
It's only 4. It's a great way of defending. Also, you can switch it to offensive mode like this, but of course we'll miss.
That is the power of the Golem right here. It's just what.
But locks onto the
Goblin.
Locks onto the Hut this time, so we'll actually secure. We'll keep the Mortal as well. Baits out the poison spell.
I love the whistle sound of the Mortar turret. Like.
I love the sound from Royal Ghost.
Ooh, that sound?
Yes, that sound, and plus the sound from the sword whenever he strikes. Ching.
There's... okay. The Hog Rider does get tornadoed out of the way, but right now we don't have that much of the sound effects. I just noticed. Mortar turret goes down. Rascals go down. Rascals go down. As expected.
Ooh, actually, I believe the Mortal did take out the girls right before it exploded.
I think they were out of range. There's the Giant Skeleton against the Hog Rider. Not the best of trades, but does well enough because of the Spear Goblin in the back. Minion Horde there. Does have the poison that will take them down, but doesn't have arrows. Doesn't have other things like that. So uses the Ice Wizard just to slow them down. There is one minion,
getting pressured a little bit more. He can actually get less value with the poison if he used it right before. He could have been falling behind. A little bit more with the log. We'll get the gumballs out of the way.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like Ito has brought a log with him, so he has been struggling to get rid of those girls.
Tornado works so well, even with the King Tower now. Hog Rider basically does not do anything.
So Minion Horde against the Mega Minion Giant Skeleton. Giant Skeleton does connect onto that. Will blow up the Mortar, which does put Ito in a little bit of a positive position, but it's hard to say. There's the Graveyard, there's the Hog Rider. Lug comes in, takes out the girls. Spear Goblin's in the back, taking out the boy. He drops his own Rascals to help defend, and he defends almost perfectly against that Graveyard.
Yeah, down to 1500, but the real push is happening on the left side. The Spear Goblin continuing to do damage. Shifts over down to about 1600, so about as even. I would say Hog Rider again getting hit by the King Tower as well will not be as effective.
Yeah, and there's also no log now for Trainer Dexter. He just used it, so that means these girls are going to live for a long time. With the Spear Goblins behind, they're going to do a lot of damage to anything that is going offensive. But that Mortar turret on the right-hand side has done a lot of work onto that top right-hand tower from Ito.
Down to 3 digits. The Giant Skeleton is working its way, but the explosion will only catch.
Graveyard did a lot of work again. 300, 400 damage there.
Overtime, one single tower will be game over. Rascals, of course, again for defense, but Goblin Hunt will stop the Hog Rider from going directly. This poison, look at this push. It's massive.
Oh, that mortar hit was so good. Took out the girls, took out like 5 spear goblins. So much work on that mortar turret.
Even hitting the Goblin Hut before it goes. The Hog Rider does come. Has to be tornadoed. Getting some value with that tornado. Hog Rider getting one single hit. Down to 3 digits on both towers, but the real problem is this one, the bottom right one. Goblin, but the poison will be melting those goblins.
Is he going to get any connections on those?
Down to 200, and that's going to be it.
It.
Ito taking a victory. Securing Sandbox, another win for themselves. Finally moving up in the standings a little bit more.
They are the counter King Zone Dragon X. 0-3 in their region. Now 3-4. Unbelievable turnaround for this team. Sandbox have got to be feeling good, but Chaos Theory, I feel kind of sorry for them. That last game was very close, and I think we haven't seen Mortar win today, right? I think Mortar has lost every game it has played.
Yes. Only 2.
2? Yeah, well, 100% loss rate on the Mortar. Still, you know, they have to be feeling good. They're not doing terribly in the standings right now.
I think we still have a lot of time to experiment on the card. Rascal has been being played with lots of different combinations.
There's also a lot of time for the standings to be changed. We have seen in the last 2 weeks that the standings have completely flipped in the Korean region, with everyone now, I believe, equal. 3-3, 3-4, yeah.
See, we'll have the updated standings very soon after this highlight. Let's take a look at the ace match between the two. Come on.
See, Sparky, super strong there. Look how much damage it did. And the tower gets taken down. The Magic Archer did find the right angle for those last few hits that just brought the tower into very close range.
I thought the Magic Archer was going to hit one more, but the Zap actually secured in some time.
Look how close this was. That P.E.K.K.A is like, I'm gonna go just out of range. Less defense there from Ito, and he would have lost.
And this is exactly why we don't really see Hog Rider as much. We used to see a lot more 2017, 2016. Because of that tornado, it's really hard to actually just send the Hog Rider, which will just activate the King Tower, unless you bend the tornado.
Yeah, Ito in this last game here played a very death by 1,000 cuts kind of system. Always chipping away, always taking just a little bit more in every push. And that won him the game. And I believe we're about to get into an interview with the winning team. And it is going to be Shinchu, I believe.
오늘의 마지막 경기 동남아 팀인 카오스와 한국 팀인 샌드박스의 경기를 함께 하셨습니다. 그 결과 어제 강팀 브랜을 꺾고 오늘도 카오스를 상대로 승리를 거둔 샌드박스의 카니 선수와 인터뷰해 볼게요. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
어제에 이어 오늘도 동남아 팀을 상대로 승리를 하셨어요. 소감 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
저희 팀이 처음에 성적이 되게 좋지 않았었는데 지금 해외 팀 상대로 계속 연승 거두고 있어서 되게 기쁘게 생각하고 있습니다.
네, 일본 원정에서도 유일하게 1승을 하셨더라고요. 또 동남아 팀에게는 또 2승을 하셨고요. 일본 팀과 동남아 팀의 차이점이 혹시 있을까요?
You think there are any differences between the Japanese and the Southeast Asian teams?
일본 팀 같은 경우에는 좀 더 정교한 느낌이
Japanese
났고
teams are very
동남아 팀 같은
detailed,
경우에는
a lot more detailed in controls.
예측하기 좀 쉬웠다고 생각했습니다.
2대2에서 복제와 복제의 싸움이었어요. 이도 선수가 저번 인터뷰에서 복제 마법을 쓸 것 같다고 하셨는데 이 복제 마법의 누구의 아이디어인가요?
You guys actually
일단
brought in
복제
lots of
마법을 팀원에서 팀들이 다 함께 연구를 머리 맞대고 연구를 굉장히 많이 했고 그래서 저희가 그냥 많이 쓴 만큼 좋은 결과 나왔다고 생각합니다.
네, 카니 선수 합숙에서 집안일을 많이 한다고 들었습니다. 반대로 집안일을 제일 안 하는 선수가 있나요?
I heard you do a lot of house chores. all the housework.
집안일 공평하게 전부 다 잘 하고 있습니다.
지금
Is there a
약간
player who
보복이
actually doesn't
두려워서
really do any
피하시는 것 같은데 한
cleanups?
명만 다
Can you
꼽아주세요.
point onto one player?
아니에요, 다 같이 잘 하고 있습니다.
We all like split
네.
up and we are actually okay.
자 그렇다면 2대2 호흡을 맞추고 에이스 결정전에서 승리한 아빠고 미도 선수에게 한마디 한번 해주세요.
그래도 되게 이상한 덱 많이 했는데 그래도 좀 이상한 덱을 많이 준비한
Have a
만큼
shout out
좋은
to
모습
Ito
보여줘서 되게
for having the
좋게
ace match win. But it
이상한
was
덱이라면
a
어떤 덱을
lot of
말씀하시는
weird
거죠?
decks.
보통 스파키나 자이언트 에고를 쓰진 않으니까
Like I don't
그래도
really use
많이
Sparky or the
연습해서
giant
그만큼 좋은
skeletons,
결과가
but
있다고
Ito.
생각했습니다.
네, 아주 멋진
He had somewhat
경기였습니다.
of a great
다음 주 한일전
great games
재대결이
today.
한국홈에서 열립니다. 이길
we'll have
자신이
next week.
있으신가요?
Japan against Korea.
아무래도 다음
and
주가
OGN.
일본 1, 2위 팀이기 때문에
And against the
자신
first
있다고는
and the
못하겠고
second place
그만큼
teams, and they are
더
both
준비 많이 해서
Japanese
좋은 모습
teams. So
보여드리도록
can't
하겠습니다.
really say
네,
that we are
이렇게
going to win
해서
for sure, but we
샌드박스가
will prepare
카오스를
and try our
꺾고
best for
연승
the
행진을
matchups.
이어가고 있습니다. 진심으로 축하드리고요. 내일도 재밌는 경기로 돌아올 테니까 기대 많이 해주세요. 지금까지 샌드박스의
카니
MC 루다였습니다.
And that was
감사합니다.
Luda again finishing with the interview. Good to see some updates in terms of the result and the standings. I think we're very close to seeing that very soon. Result.
The results, we saw AHQ Esports Club beat out Kingzone Dragon X. Kicks lost to OPGG Skeleton, and Sandbox beat Chaos Theory. What is interesting to me is AHQ Esports Club and Sandbox both have the exact same route to this point. They started off 0-3 in their groups, and now they have 3 wins each.
Yeah, in their own region, maybe they were just weak.
But in
In the
terms
weeks
of
before, and after all the practices, they have been coming through a lot better. Let's take a look at the updated standings. As Korea at the final spot in the first page.
AHQ Esports Club have climbed up and overtaken Kingzone Dragon X, who looked one of the stronger Korean teams, but they don't look like that anymore.
Expo Master really not showing up to his name and the expectation from the other regions as well. And we'll drop their match today. And the second page, what you see here, Chaos Theory with that loss will be dropping down, of course. And Sandbox from the 12th place has risen up to 7th.
OGN Entus has a chance to join the rest of the pack with a 3-4 finishing here, but that pack can also include Kingzone Dragon X tomorrow. So there is a very, very tight pack in the middle of this group table.
And by the end of tomorrow, which is right here, we'll have all the teams playing 7 matches. Brandy Sports versus Kingdom Dragon X. That is possibly the most exciting matchup that we've been waiting for Sunday. And HQ Esports Club versus OGN Entus is up right after. Only 2 matches on Sunday. Brought to you by, of course, Simon and Joel Sophie tomorrow.
I think Bren Esports are going to beat Kingzone Dragon X if Kingzone Dragon X don't stop their fall from grace right now.
And by tomorrow, from the latest with what we have, Bren Esports will have another player, so they can actually play all of their 1v1 and 2v2 matches. They were having some visa issues on Friday, but it should have been resolved from the update that I was told last night, late night. And tomorrow's matches should be fine against Kingzone, but let's see how well they can actually do. Against the Queen teams, they looked invincible, but when they were playing the other region teams, they don't really look the same as much.
Kingzone Dragon X have just not looked that great. There's still diamonds in their play. Like, you still see a little bit of that hope, and then suddenly it's taken away. So if they can kind of slow the bleed, I would say, they'll be fine.
Yeah. We still have lots of more weeks and lots of more matches coming up right here in Clash Royale League Asia. So keep tuning in. We do have 2 more matches coming up between Southeast Asia and Korea coming up tomorrow. So join us again tomorrow at 7 p.m. We'll be here right here. See you guys tomorrow.